What's good? Lucky Lefty Podcast, Onora Voice in the building, brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And we're here for you, Notre Dame fans. It doesn't matter that it didn't go the way that you wanted it to go. If you're going to drink, it still remains that you need to make sure that you drink
responsibly.
Let's get it. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Onora Boys in the building. That's MALIK ZAIRE. ST2 Mike Sean Davis. We're brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. Lock in with us. Patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. Lucky Legends Podcast. Players Only Podcast. I talked to the guys this morning. They're all flying back. Getting back this afternoon. They're going to be hopping on this evening for their wrap-up show to the studio. Big recruiting weekend coming up. Huge. And Notre Dame take advantage of this momentum. We'll talk about it. Where do things go wrong? Offense, defense. We'll get at it. There are no moral victories. I don't know what every other podcast is talking about. There are no moral victories. As Yoda said, there is no try. There is only do. We're here to talk about it because we are committed to making sure, because we are the home of the misguided passion, we will forever be committed to making sure that we spin it
different.
Left, we'll get your post-snap read, recap your three keys and where Notre Dame fell short. But I'm going to let you rock out. I'm going to go ahead and let you rock out because I'm sure there's some people looking for you in the Columbus streets this morning. You know what I mean? I told you ain't nothing wrong. You know, little humble pie is good for you every now and then. It's good for you every now and then. You know what I'm saying? But don't change who you are. Still talk that talk. Still stand 10 toes down. I wish Notre Dame had stood 10 toes down on who they were last night.
Yeah, I don't know. We dang. I think that we didn't get any pressure. We didn't get our main players the ball. I think we relied too much on 13. And we didn't take any shots down the field. We couldn't get off the field. We didn't take any shots down the field. We didn't. Jeremiah Love numbers didn't look great. But it didn't look like we were prepared in some instances. Like offensively, I knew that we didn't have the explosiveness to just score in bunches, and I just thought we was gonna run out of time. The way we played, the way we were playing, I just thought we was gonna run out of time.
Yeah, I'm gonna mark that down. We are at 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Left says we don't have the explosiveness, and I'm gonna disagree with you.
No, I'm saying we didn't have the explosiveness in the offense yesterday.
Oh, okay.
We didn't take the shots. We didn't close the gap when it came time to, we need a big momentous play on offense or a big score.
Yeah.
We didn't get that part from it or the response that you would expect. Ohio State score. We score, Ohio State score. Okay, then we come score again. We kind of like took the gas off took the foot off the gas and just kind of like coasted. Now, also, we only had the ball, 6 plays after that first touchdown drive for the whole half. So
no, the next time they touched the ball in the third quarter,
it was the third quarter, and we didn't. So
that.
So not being able
that's the game.
Yeah, that's the
game.
You don't have the ball that much, and we're not scoring in those minimal times, it was a bad position to be in for an offense that isn't used to not having the football. So defensively, I think with no pressure, it just made everything a lot harder. Not that guys were playing unbelievably, but anybody that doesn't get pressure is gonna have a good day. I don't care how good or bad you are. It just doesn't. It doesn't. You're not gonna be very useful if you can't get pressure. So that's gonna harm in the run game and the pass game. And so when they were able to just do it in any way they wanted to, I mean, we couldn't stop the bleeding. And then to play catch up in a position where we don't get the ball that much and we're not a quick striking down the field sort of team, or wasn't last night. It was a recipe for the way we lost. I mean, I just felt like we was just going to run out of time, and we definitely made it a little easier than I expected it in terms of like the pushback or the response when this team has been responding all season. So it's not easy, but I think it's a lot to learn from, and closing the gap and what we need to close the gap on. I still think we need, which we said all season, we need that presence and that D tackle. We need that size up front. I thought we did decently well in the run game, but I mean they comboed it well enough. I mean, they had great passes to balance the run, they keep us on our toes. Our blitzes looked very pedestrian. That's what got me off kilter, was that even when we were bringing pressure, there was just no penetration. There was no middle pressure for Will to leave the pocket ever. And so, I mean, he was back there cooking. I mean, hell, if you that got that much time with those receivers, there's only so much you can do. So I thought we did some good things. Missed too many tackles at the line of scrimmage. I think the initial contact was an issue because they'll break a tackle at the line of scrimmage and get like 5 or 6 yards after it. So it's like we were getting killed that way. You know what I mean? And so it's a combo of, were we not tackling the right way, or were we not there? Was it a good play call? So there's many different things you can point at. I just think that offensively, we looked limited when we needed to make plays to be big. And I just thought we relied on 13 way too much for us having all the options we did. I just thought that it was too much concerted effort on him trying to run the football, like quarterback called runs. But I'm like, dude, we're down 2 scores. Let's take some shots. And then he wasn't hot early. So him not being hot early, maybe it affected the calls that Denbrock probably felt good about. It was just tough, man. It was tough because it felt like you couldn't stop the bleeding, and then you couldn't patch it up fast enough. So you're just bleeding out. And like I said, it was a race to 30. I was true about that. I said it's gonna be a race to 30. And the team that gets to 30 is probably gonna be the winner. And that's what happened last night.
You done? I want to let you rock because I'm a rock. I'm about to rock.
Yeah, I got a lot. I mean,
I'm about to rock. So
I'm
you
still
go ahead.
processing, man.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
I'll give you a break. Lucky Lefty podcast.
yeah.
See, Left. A lot of people labeled this matchup as David and Goliath. See, let me tell you an interesting thing about David and his matchup with Goliath. See, David just minding his business, tending sheep. His father comes to him and says, Yo, your brother's out there getting ready to fight a battle against the Philistines. I need you to take them their lunch. David goes, here's this dude, this giant talking trash to his armor. And he's like, Yo, y'all scared of this dude? Now, mind you, like this dude is like a ruddy little skinny scrap dude. Hey, you mad at me? Y'all scared of this dude? He ain't talking about nothing. He all talk. I'll go fight him. Y'all don't want to go fight him? I'll go fight him. You're like, yo, you a kid. How you gonna fight this dude? What are you talking about? This is who I am. This ain't about me. It's about what's in me. It's about the makeup. It's not about whether or not we got injuries. It's not about who we don't have. It's about who we are. And who we are is good enough. Dave was like, who I am internally is good enough. Who has my back internally is good enough. And there's an interesting point in the story left because the king said, if you're going to go fight him, here, put on my tunic, take my sword. And David walked around with the tunic and sword and was like, nah, I can't rock with this. This don't fit me. This ain't who I am. And he walked out there with his stones and his sling, bro. That's who he was. Craziest battle. Biggest obstacle. The underdog. He didn't go into the matchup trying to be somebody else, trying to wear somebody else's armor. He went out there with the same thing that gave him the bear and gave him the lion that he spoke about. I wish Notre Dame had took their sling and their stones instead of putting on somebody else's armor. I don't know what the hell that was by Al Golden to start that game last night.
I don't know.
Defensive players look totally unprepared.
Yeah.
Totally fearful. Trying to communicate things and do things they haven't been asked to do all season. For what? For what? Linebackers been hugging the A-gap all year. All year. Same safety. Biggest play of the game. What the heck are you blitzing Xavier Watts for?
I don't know. I don't know. I saw it. I said, why is he blitzing? And
for what? Christian Gray is not good in off-man coverage. He's not. You saw it against USC. You saw it in other games. He wants to play bump and run. I don't give a darn if 4 is bad.
Yeah, I didn't understand.
Let your dude do what he does and put somebody over the top. What are we doing? Last night, they decided to put on somebody else's arm.
Yeah.
Go face Goliath instead of being who they are. Be who you are. Do what you do. And if you get beat, you get beat. But you have to live with the fact. Those players have to live with the fact that we didn't do what we do. That makes it worse.
Yeah.
That makes it worse.
Yeah.
We went down not doing what we do. That makes it worse. And that's on this coaching staff. That's on this coaching staff. I'm gonna be frank. Because I'm tired of it, Left. I'm tired of it. If a true freshman can walk into Ohio State and everybody on that team acknowledge that's the dude.
That's the dude.
Been there for 3 years and had to acknowledge that's the dude. Cardell Tate had to acknowledge that's the dude. Travion Henderson had to acknowledge that's the dude. Jeremiah Love is the dude.
Yeah.
He's the dude.
There's no mistaking it. Yeah.
All these people, well, you guys don't talk about Jadarian Price. He's Jeremiah Love.
It's Jeremiah Love.
He's not. Jeremiah Love is special. He's a difference maker. He's the dude in big games that you have to get the ball to.
Yeah, we just didn't get the ball to him. I don't understand that.
One thing that has to change is that. Because we saw consistently over and over again. Let me be cool, because I don't want to sound like I'm not appreciative of what 13 has accomplished.
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is. There are no moral victories. We lost. There's no guarantee that we're going to get back to this situation. There's no guarantee. Notre Dame has to play an extra game every rip. 4 tough games. We don't know how next year. We do. The talent should be better next year and deeper next year. We don't know what's going to go on with CJ Carr's elbow. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know if guys are going to transfer after the spring. We don't know. You can't predict that. You can't. One of the worst things I did, one of the most insensitive things I've ever done in my life, I never forget, lost a championship game in baseball, city championship as a junior, bro. I walked right into the dugout like it was a normal game. All the seniors in there crying, bro.
Oh, yeah, those are the worst. Yeah.
And they're crying, dude. I gave no empathy to it, bro. Because I was too young to realize, yo, this is really tough. I should have been hugging them, showing them appreciation. Man, I went right out to the girls in the stands.
Yeah, you said I'm next year. Yeah.
I'll be back next year. That's how I felt. And guess what? We lost in the quarterfinals. Like, not guaranteed, bro. There's no guarantee. You just, oh yeah, we're gonna be back. You don't know that. You don't know that. You don't.
No.
I understand the deficit because of injuries and everything. That's not how life works, man. Last night was last night. And Notre Dame had enough if they had done what they do best. See, David was masterful with that sling. It wasn't just that he had a sling and some stones. He was masterful with it. Notre Dame had become masterful at what they did all year. And they went away from the very thing they had mastered.
Yeah, we started doing stuff I've never seen.
Why? For what? You scared? You get to this moment to be scared?
That's what it felt like.
If you're that scared, then you tell 15. If you're going to change it up, tell 15 he's yours all night. Wherever he goes, follow him. It's incredible.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, it's just
the one thing I did not expect. The one thing I did not expect is for them to go out there and show characteristics. Marcus Freeman said, hey, yo, this is uncharacteristic of us.
Yeah, like
looking at his squad, like this is not my squad. And he was not happy. He was not happy. He was not happy. So we can sit up here, we can talk. People want to talk about Christian Gray. Christian Gray on that last play. They gave up 214 yards on the ground. Forget Christian Gray.
Forget Christian Gray. Yeah, they had a well-balanced offense. We couldn't
214 yards on the ground. You don't even need to get to Christian Gray.
You can't, don't even get to that yet.
Al Golden. Dude, did you not get the message or the memo against Penn State that everybody knows you're blitzing on second down?
Yeah.
Anthony Nicky
had a plan for it. Yeah, he had a plan for it. Yeah.
And you didn't break any tendency. You didn't anticipate that Ohio State would do the exact same thing that Penn State did. They go watch second downs last night.
That was tough to watch.
Kelly just ripped them apart, anticipating when he knew what was coming. It's predictable. If you're gonna be predictable doing what you do. Don't be passively predictable. That's the worst. That's the worst. Everybody in the building knew. 3rd and 11. Who was getting the rock, bro? There was no one watching that game that didn't know. Give your kid a chance. Let him do what he does best. And if it's not good enough, it's not good enough.
It's not good enough.
Let him go up there and bumper. That's what he does. If you let him play off man, he's going to try to jump the short route. That's what he does. When you talk to Mr. Morrison, Benjamin's father, that's the aspect of the game that Christian has to improve upon. He has to improve upon that. The nuances. Because when it just comes to pure talent, bump and run, that's what he does. That's what he's best at. But time and time again, you have seen this young man. Carnell beat him on the same route the first half. Will Howard just missed the throw. Off coverage. Threaten his inside technique or his inside leverage, and then just go with the go route. Will Howard just overthrew it. You saw that in the first half. They went right back to it on the other side with Jeremiah Smith. And you did the exact same thing. It's ridiculous. You walked in there with Texas armor on. You didn't walk in there with your own armor. You walked in there with Texas armor on. Like, man, let's do what Pete Kwiatkowski did. What are we doing?
Yeah, that didn't make no sense, man.
This coaching staff, coach scared last night. They flat out coach scared.
It was coaching scared. We said we can't have that. That's what we said in yesterday. We said we can't.
I told you cannot waste what that offensive line did on that first drive. You needed your offensive line. I don't want to hear nothing about the Notre Dame offensive line. They always get the blame in big games. I don't want to hear nothing about the Notre Dame offensive line. You needed the Notre Dame offensive line to set the tone. That's what they did. They came out and punched them dudes dead in the mouth. We here. What's up? And that defense comes out and plays 10 yards off the ball.
Yeah.
Easy throw. What are we doing? Your offense just set the tone. Go after these dudes.
We just sat back the whole game. Like, it was just.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We were not aggressive on defense whatsoever. That's
all.
That's just what.
And that's your calling card. Listening to all these national pundits. Oh, Notre Dame, they can't do what they do against this team. It's crazy.
We didn't even try. That's the problem. We didn't even.
No.
We said we're gonna just try to. I don't know, man. That you can't get off the field. You can't win a game. You give up 214 yards rushing. You're not gonna win the game. It's just not gonna happen.
And what was my one concern when we did the show last week? What are our biggest concerns? What was my one concern, Left? I said that Ryan Day would actually go against the trend and be patient and lean on the run game. That's what I said. I said, dude, if Ohio State is patient and leans on the run game,
they was chunking us too with the run game.
Notre Dame is in trouble. I just want to say one thing. Hey, man, look. Leonard Moore, young man, your speed is ridiculous, bro. Because when that cat Junkins got out the back door, I was like, yo, that's to the house. And if the way you tracked him down, 15's going to be a dude, bro.
15's going to be fine, yeah.
15's going to be a dude. That's a true freshman. 15's going to be a dude. We'll get to the bright spots in a few moments. Kudos, first of all, I want to say kudos to my people. Congratulations to Ryan Day, the Ohio State Buckeyes. What you guys did in response after that devastating loss to Michigan. Offensively, y'all cats just a juggernaut, bro. Just 4 straight games of just the only thing that stopped y'all was y'all. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So man. CT, love you, boy. Chicago over everything. Congrats. The angel was on your shoulder. She's proud of you. I talked to Styles Sr. last night. Renzo, you still got a little bit of ND blood in you, boy. Congrats. You made the right move for you. Sonny, congratulations. I said, Left. I'll leave it at that because I got another thing I want to talk about when we get to the offense. and that showed reared its ugly head last night concerning 13. And I do. I just that for me, and it's amazing that they both wear number 4.
Yeah,
This team recognizes this number 4 is the dude.
he's a guy.
The other team, for some reason, at points in the season,
I don't know. It felt like we could do it without him or something. I don't know.
look, I don't know. They came out at halftime at Penn State. Who did they go to?
4.
4. They went to 4 to establish the run game. Go ahead, man. I'll let you rest a little bit. Go ahead. So we can wrap up this just overall thought stuff and get to the offense left. Go ahead. Oh, let me get these super chats out the way because we always promise that we get the super chats and the GTB questions. West Palm Pat, thank you for the super chat. First and goal at the Ohio State 8 with 10 minutes left, down 16. No one can tell me that giving the ball to Love 4 times in a row would not have gotten a touchdown. Yeah, a throw to Great House in quarters, trying to double, swirl route type, angle route. That throwing a fade to Mitchell Evans. What, bruh? Now, see, you can poke holes at Den Brock for that.
Oh, man.
Once again, you didn't use the running backs in the passing game, out the backfield to take advantage of the linebackers. None of that. Eric Spadell, thank you for the super chat. We didn't have any answers last night defensively. Shaking my head, but much love to my LL brothers and Irish Nation. We will be back. We appreciate you, Eric. Super chat. Left, you taking it hard, bro. Notre Dame players are taking this one hard. I'm in the text thread with them. Notre Dame fans, if you think you're taking it hard, Notre Dame brethren are taking this one hard this morning. Hard. There's a few on social media with the overreactions. They need to relax. But GTB question from my guy, Wemery 269 left and Sean. How do you feel about 3rd and 11 that ended the game? Oh, well, we already covered that. Get your GTB and super chats in.
Defensively, man, if you can't get off the field, it was just like an open wound we couldn't close, and we couldn't close the gap offensively. I just didn't recognize who we were, man. It didn't have the same feeling that we felt confident in what we were doing when we were out there. Mm-hmm. And when they were up 3 scores, it didn't feel that urgency to want to get back in the game. It just kind of felt like, okay, they beat us, and so, we played to the end. I just think that it just is weird. We didn't do the things that we usually do. But when a team can get 200 and plus yards running on your defense, you can't get no pressure. I mean, you're back there doing what you want. And they made some good plays here and there, but a lot of this stuff was like catch tackle, routine stuff. I don't know. The defense just didn't feel like it came to play. And offense, for the first time, having to take over in a situation where our defense isn't in charge, we didn't feel that role either, and then special teams didn't go right. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like it was just thinking.
We'll get to the field goal. We'll get to the decision to go ahead. If you're gonna run a sprint out with Jordan Faison, you could have done that with Riley. To me, that's a waste. And Jordan Faison has to catch the ball.
He's got to catch it.
He's got to catch the ball. I mean, it's as simple as that.
I don't know. I just didn't feel like we wanted to seize the moment. We had opportunities, and it wasn't like they were just out talenting us.
No, they just looked like they got more talent, but they had more talent. First of all, because of injury. That's number one. They had more talent, and they had more talent even with injury.
I'm saying in the game, it wasn't like they were just head and shoulders more talented where we couldn't do anything about it. We just, I don't know. We didn't.
Left. Let me tell you something, bro. Junior Tuilamaka has had one of the best late season ascensions playing defensive line, and it was needed because of the injuries. He played his worst game last night. Worst game. They run a simple waggle. Simple. Your job is to make sure Will Howard does not get outside of you.
Oh, yeah.
You are not catching Judkins or Henderson coming backside. You are not that dude. You're not Bryce Young. You don't have that type of length and athleticism. All you have to do is hold your leverage, and as soon as he turns, attack him upfield, and he doesn't have enough time to let Ibuka come all the way across the field on 3rd and 7. It's very simple. Just simple football. Simple. That's not talent. That's just doing your job.
Right.
Doing your job. Like you pointed out, the first touchdown left. Christian Gray alerts everybody, watch the jet sweep. Right? It's the same play that they got. Brian Day knew that play because Alabama ran it against them with Devontae Smith when they met in the championship game in 2020. The same play. Christian Gray screaming, alerting, watch the jet sweep, saying, if the jet sweep goes, I'm going to pick up Ibuka. Nobody hears him and nobody responds to him. If someone had responded to him, he would have known, man, the clear communication. Because nobody communicated, he takes off. It's his fault because his man is Jeremiah Smith. He should have had his eyes on Jeremiah Smith the entire way before he started taking off. And I'm sorry, my brother. As Kim Gibbs says, my brother in Christ, you are not catching Jeremiah Smith on a jet sweep, have to run around defenders. It's not happening. But that's just the type of things that break down the communications that we haven't seen. Being asked to do things that they weren't asked to do. Not being themselves. Not playing fast, playing slow. Not tackling. They get a first down stop. G. Scott gets a pass in the flat on 2nd down. You're supposed to hit him and stop him for at least a 1-yard gain, make it 3rd and 8. He breaks the tackle, and now it's 3rd and 3. Just simple things, man. Simple things left. It was talent deficiency, whatever it is. You have to do the simple things and make the plays that you can play, that you can make. That's it. They didn't do it. They didn't do it. So we're here. Great season. Yeah, that's cool. We spin it different. We can sit up here and do 2 hours. The future is bright. Great season. Thanks for this. Thanks for that. We got to keep it a buck. No pun intended. We got to keep it a buck about what we saw last night. Because it was disappointing in more ways than one. Just flat out disappointing. I saw this. Derek Brady, thank you for joining us. We came out throwing because we had to get points. Run game was shut down. It's not true. They literally ran the ball 9 straight times to open up the game. Run game was not shut down. They never got to the run game. Because even in the second drive, they came out, Riley misses a wide open receiver. Then they get the penalty. Then they run a draw on 2nd and 20 or something. So no, I disagree. Run game was not shut down. Ohio State got out in front, and Notre Dame took the ball out of the hands of their running back. On the first drive, they took the ball out of the hands of their running back. The running backs never got a shot in the game. Never. If you just ran the ball down their throat, why are you coming out first 2 plays trying to throw the ball with Riley the second drive? Ohio State wanted no parts of the run straight ahead. No parts. They didn't want it. They stayed in nickel all night. daring you to run the ball. And like you said, Left, they put everything was on the shoulders of 13. Everything. Everything.
He had to do everything.
Ryan, they didn't put everything on Will Howard's shoulders.
Hell no.
They ran that rock.
Hell no. They ran the rock, and then they said, we'll play off of these play actions, these waggles, and if you don't got it, just run. I mean, he played a real solid game due to not having it. I mean, we made it easy on him, man. I don't know. We made it too easy on him.
That's crazy. They never got to anything. Jadarian breaks a 10-yard run. You never go back to it. Just never
go back to it.
Never. Never. The first time all year this team played nothing close to complimentary football. Nothing. Nothing close to it. Nothing close to it. Nothing.
This is the first time defense couldn't hold their weight, which is a heavy part of the relationship. I mean, they've been holding us down 60-40 all season. They didn't come with the 60, and we didn't bring our 40. So, I mean, it's just offensively, I just couldn't understand what we were trying to get to.
Okay, so let's talk about that. That is our overall thoughts of the game. Let's get to the offense, Left. I'll let you get your post-snap read, but I'm going to say this, man. As appreciative as I am of Riley Leonard, his response during the season, how he got better, what he's meant, the closer he's been in games, the closer he was against Georgia, the throws he made against Penn State, I'm happy to see him go. Thank you, Riley Leonard. Thank you for everything that you gave.
Yeah, thanks, man. Honestly.
But I'm ready to see competent quarterback play in the passing game. Consistently. I'm ready to see a quarterback that can throw the ball down the field. Consistently. I'm just ready for it. That's it. Has nothing to do with being disrespectful to Riley. That's not what he was, bro. This is just not what he was. It's not.
You
And I tip my cap. Hey, man, look. Left, I'll let you answer this question. I tip my cap to this coaching staff, Marcus Freeman, Mike Denbrock. Mike Denbrock has been taking a lot of heat, man. Without knowing football, the way you know football, Left, I know that Mike Denbrock had a moment where he was like, this dude ain't what we thought he was.
Oh, yeah.
And Mike Denbrock didn't point fingers. He didn't blame. They built, in the middle of the season, they are like, we have to build, this is what we wanted the offense to be. We have to build this entire offense around him to help him. They did that, and they went on an incredible run to the national championship game. I don't know how anybody else feels about that. That's nasty work. That's absolutely amazing from an offensive staff. Wide receivers sacrifice their numbers. Ladies and gents, Jaden Greathouse has been open all year. Once again, I go back to week 3 when Riley Leonard told the media, man, guys are open. I don't know why I'm not throwing the ball. Those are his words. We're not making this up. Those are his words. Literally, the quarterback said, guys are open. I'm just not throwing the ball. What? What? That was one of those moments Left. I was like, Rob, don't. You're not supposed to say that, bro. You're not supposed to say that. So Jaden Greathouse breaking out. Jaden Greathouse has been doing that. He's been open all year. He's been waiting to kill dudes all year. It's no surprise that he showed up. No surprise at all. We saw that in the spring, Left. And it goes back to what you said, Left. Nobody wanted to hear you screaming from the wilderness, Left, when you said this injury in the spring is bigger than people realize. Oh no, he'll be back. He'll be fine. You know, his foot will be fine. You were like, no, you don't understand the nuances of the position, bro. He's already not a precision passer. And he processes slow. Left you, and this is just me. I didn't play the position, but I can tell, like, yeah, he processes slow, bro. He's tough. He can piece his butt off. But it's just like the passing game. It's just the fact that he came out in the second half and when they opened it up, hey, he made some plays. He made some plays. But we needed you to make those plays when the game was still. Yes. I need you to hit that hook route, the Jordan Faison. I need you to hit Mo Collins wide open to extend the drive. That's all we need. That's all we need. And you couldn't get it done. We tip our cap to your response in the second half. You couldn't get it done. But that is the biggest thing for me offensively. They had to build an entire offense around him during the regular season. And last night, they built the entire game plan
around 13. And it looked. That's why I look so adept. Because it's like giving Kobe the ball and everybody just watching, standing and watching. 1 versus 5. Everybody saying, I'm open. And he just taking all the shots. And you're like, dude, you got Derek Fisher, Robert Horry on your team, Shaq. Mm-hmm. And you're just going all Kobe. I mean, because then it's like when you put it through 13's hands only, he's taking all these crazy hits, running quarterback power, and then you're asking him to drop back and be Peyton
pass the ball. My man is on the sideline throwing up. Almost passed out the play before the touchdown run.
It's like we knew that in the NIU week, if you try to put everything through 13, he's not ready for that. Hell, only few can even do that in general. Even at the peak, you can't run a bunch of quarterback powers to guarantee a first down and then come back and try to run a regular offense where you're throwing the ball back to back. It's like, come on, man. Like, we put too much strain on Riley in the power run game that we forgot that he's also the quarterback. So when we try to gain some consistency or some momentum or some fluidity throwing the football, it's impossible. He was huffing and puffing. His jersey was half off the whole game. Like, you saw in his face after runs, he's taking hits. He's getting pummeled. Then we're telling him to drop back and avoid guys and then putting Jeremiah Love in there to block. He's like, why am I blocking? Jeremiah Love is like, dude, why am I blocking, bro? So I think that, maybe Denbrock felt like this was the quarterback game to do it, but I think it's a miscalculation. I don't think why all of a sudden the importance became 13. If anything, it made Jim Knowles' job easier. Because he's like, oh, okay, the ball don't move unless 13 move it. So we're going to lock in on these pressures. We're going to get upfield. Hey, they're going to hand deliver him to us with this quarterback run game. We just got to punish him. They're going to hand deliver him to our defense. We just got to keep punishing him. He's not going to last all game. And that's just not an efficient way to run your offense. It's not. You're using quarterback run game heavy in the first half. How do you expect him to get better passing by the second half? You don't. It's either one or the other. And throughout all year, we relied on him just being a run threat. But in this run threat that we're forcing him to beat, it just doesn't make sense to give him the lion's share of the carries when you have all these other options that can run the football, especially when you're all American. Unless he was hurt. I'm thinking that maybe they was talking about we can't push him too hard because he's really banged up for real, maybe whatever, but it just doesn't look like we thought it out well enough to trust. Maybe it was a trust thing where we didn't trust anybody else but 13 in tough situations, but that also goes to coaching. Denbrock believes, okay, I can't put the ball in anybody else's hands on third and manageable other than 13 because that's all we're doing anyway. Power run with 13 on third and 5. You can't get drives consecutively like that. You can't put together an 18 play 90-yard drive with 9 of the 18 being quarterback runs. It's not a formula for winning long term. And when you had to be able to score in bunches or score on a urgent level or a quicker pace or pushing the ball downfield, he couldn't. He couldn't. He couldn't and we didn't. We took 0 shots down the field, 20-plus yard attempts. I don't even think we had one.
I don't think we had a great house.
That was at the end of the game, right?
I mean, just over 20 yards. If you're talking
about but we didn't take enough shots to feel like we were a threat on offense.
Mitchell Evans' run after the catch was over 20 yards.
But that wasn't enough shots to feel like
I know that's not a big shot that you're talking about. Like Jordan,
I know. I'm just saying, like even if we counted that, it just wasn't more of those.
Yeah,
it wasn't enough to where I felt like, oh, this offense is trying to win this game or stay in the game. It's like we were on there just to run plays almost. I didn't feel the setup. I didn't feel we're working this and we're gonna hit them with this and. It just felt like we in there running whatever Riley's comfortable with to get the first down. Like we were scared. I didn't feel any Aeneas Williams get out of the backfield, take advantage of a linebacker, or I didn't see any. I just saw a bunch of us trying to throw some slants, thirsty for these little first downs, and then we work so hard and get beat up so much. We get 10 plays and don't even cross the 50 yet. 10 plays and don't even cross it. It's like, come on, what are we trying to get out of the drive? There's no finishing quality to any of these drives. It's just like, well, we got the ball for 6 plays after our first drive. In those 6 plays, we acted like we had all the time in the world or something. Or we just warming up, or I never felt like we pressed the button to be like, okay, we're gonna go. We're gonna score these points. We're going to make it tough on their defense. I don't think the corners got too much action. It felt like we had Penn State receivers from last week. It just, I don't know, man. I think we put Riley in a tough position to do more than he needed to do and more than what was required. If we kept on pace, he would have had 400 yards rushing and 400 passing the way we were calling a game for him. Like, he would have had 1,000 yards combined doing running and throwing the way we were calling the game. So it didn't feel like it was a game plan for success. It just felt like how much can we get out of Riley? And it's not totally his fault because it's like, you don't give it to nobody else. It was him win or not. Maybe they was like, we're gonna win. He's gonna be the MVP of the game. Because that's how we were calling it. It was like LeBron with Peja Stojakovic or something.
Not Peja. You pull Peja. Peja's son is like the top.
His son is nice. Oh, his son's nice. He got like an old school, right? He got an old school game to it. He just do like Harlem Globetrotter type. I like his game, and he's slow. So it's like,
oh, he's just like his dad. Then
he's slow.
He's just like his dad.
He just got a game to him, like.
Trex, thank you for the super chat. What's the level of expectation next year? Indy really knocking on.
I mean, I don't know. We got to get a more capable passer. I just think that's always been something we've talked about, and it just showed in last night's game. Now, in being a capable passer,
Like, you know what's crazy? If I had told you that Riley was going to throw for 2 touchdowns and 250, you probably would have been like, "Oh."
No, I think he needed around 300. Same stat line for Will. He needed around 320, 3 touchdowns to really like beat our defense. But once I saw us not throwing the ball down the field, I was like, oh, okay. And then he's missing like little short routes, and it's like, no, you're not getting nothing out of this. I think that we should have put Steve in at that point because it was recognizable early enough to where you could have made a change and tried to save.
Steve, I will say this. I will say this, and I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be fair. I don't want to hear anything from anybody. I don't care if it's a former player. I don't care if it's somebody else on another podcast. I don't want to hear nothing else about Charles Jagusah need to play guard. Nothing.
Oh yeah, nothing. He played great.
I don't want to hear he's not a tackle. Who's better on your team? Who's a better? Name the tackle that's better in pass pro.
Did Sawyer have a? I didn't really feel like he impacted the game that much.
Sawyer was it was JT and Jagusah. Jagusah was moving. That first drive when they were running, Jagusah was moving that cat JT, just moving him. But that was a good man. That was just a good battle of two really first talent defensive linemen, first round talent offensive.
That was ones versus ones.
That's ones versus ones. JT won a couple of times because Riley held the ball and eventually he got to him and Jags. Dude, a kid, once again, this is what I was telling Ohio State fans were like, well, this is his second start. He's good. Doesn't matter.
Good. It doesn't matter what the starter is. He's good. Matter.
He's good. He's a first-round tackle. He's the next first-round tackle at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
He's the next first-round tackle.
So because he's good, like it doesn't matter how many starts. Like, he's gonna go out there and do well. Like I was never worried. We was never worried about his performance at guard or tackle.
Go watch the block. Go watch his block on Riley's touchdown. The first touchdown. They just literally threw somebody into the end zone, dude.
Like he was.
I'm like, dude.
He had a good day. So that's why I don't want to hear nothing about the offensive line.
I have to be fair. I think a huge part of Riley being unsettled to start the season, if Riley knew, I think Riley was a lot more comfortable passing the ball last night because he had 56 and he had 56.
He was comfortable uncomfortably. He was uncomfortably comfortable.
But it's different than knowing
because he wasn't getting pressured like that much all game. Like it wasn't. He was in the pocket hanging around like at the ball. Like we had protection for him. That's why I felt like, why couldn't we push the ball down the field? We had protection. It wasn't like they were just killing us up front. He was patting the ball too much, and he had happy feet, and he started missing. I think he overthought it. I don't think he felt like he was going to have as much time as he did because he looked like he panicked because he didn't get depth in the pocket, and it looked indecisive. Do I run? Do I stay? Do I run? So it just didn't feel like a game plan that Riley was totally in sync with. And I felt like Denbrock kind of just leaned on Riley more than he should have. Like, it just didn't make sense why we didn't go to Jeremiah Love on a healthy level. Like, I get that he has limited touches each game for whatever reason, but this ain't the game to try to.
But see, I saw somebody in the chat say Jeremiah Love was hurt. Dude, they were taking snaps away from Jeremiah Love and the running backs all year because of Riley Leonard. Like, this is bigger than last night. This has been the operation.
Yeah, Riley Leonard was the leading rusher on the team up until like week 5 or 6.
In order to get him going, we have to run him.
That's taking snaps. Yeah, that's taking snaps.
In order to get most quarterbacks going, you have to
throw the ball.
Pass there. With Riley Leonard to get him going, okay, we gotta run him.
Gotta run him.
You know what I'm saying? And it's
quarterback power. You gotta run a power play.
We said all year, you're taking snaps away from the best runners on your team.
On the team. Milrow definitely did that to Bama too. That's why they running backs left and went to Michigan.
And it is left. Um, I want to give. I think it was really big. I told people when it happened, losing. I knew that Notre Dame would have somebody that would be able to step up and play, and Notre Dame would still be able to win games. I knew that, but no one was going to be Charles Jagasaw at left tackle.
No,
No
he
one.
was starting before the
No
season
one.
got here. Like,
No one. And that played into why Riley was so unsettled in the passing game early. Just early. He just was always jittery in the pocket because he knew, man, my left tackle's a true freshman, 290 pounds, really can't anchor well. So he was just looking to run and wouldn't keep his eyes downfield. And it was just tough. It was tough. And I think Nat progressed and got better. Um, and once Shroud got next to him, he got better because Shroud was able to come over and help him in certain instances. And then you saw Riley begin to come on in the passing game because he gained more confidence in his offensive line. And he just came up short. He came up short last night. He had open receivers, especially early. He missed them. Could have sustained drives. Mm, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. Uh, let's see. Defensively, left. What do you want to talk about?
defensively, I just don't think we showed up. I don't think the guys played with the confidence they played with all year. And I think they wore on us. We couldn't get off the field. So eventually, I mean, we was giving up stuff, and even when we were there, the smallest of things that they did on the completion level was still 5 or 6 yards at a time. So you add that when you can't make a team one dimensional, they're running, they're throwing, they're play action on you all day. You're not getting any pressure. Where was RJ open? Where was, guys we've been relying on all season for it to be such a big stage, it's I just expected more from our defense from an effort standpoint. But yeah, I mean, we made it comfortable for them. I think once they got comfortable and locked in, everything they was calling just looked like a genius play. And sometimes it happens like that when everything's working well for you. Eventually, it wasn't even about the scheme. They're just running left and right and picking up 5 or 6 yards at a time, just being more physical and making breaking tackles. And I think that when we couldn't get locked in on one particular thing, everything just became hard to do. Stopping the run, tackling the open field, making plays at the line of scrimmage, getting pressure. Everything became hard to do when you couldn't do one thing really good or take away one thing. And I think it psychologically messed us up when we're calling these blitzes and we're not even getting home. I mean, we're not even getting a hand on a dude. So, psychologically, that kind of probably would have messed up Al Golden mentally on the standpoint of, dude, I'm calling these blitzes that are good for us, and we can't even hit pay dirt at all. Like, so what do you call? What do you call? So I think he kind of, lost his rhythm of when to call blitzes and when to, put in the adjustments needed due to the fact that he felt like, what do we stop first at halftime? Do you stop the run? Do you stop these explosive play action plays? Do you stop the over the middle throws? Do you stop? What are we looking to stop first? And once we couldn't bite down on one thing, everything became an issue. Tackling became an issue. Running to the ball became an issue. And even with that, Ohio State still was in position that we could have been all right. And then they gave us the back-breaking plays, like the one-on-one down the field that kind of ended it. And
Well, that was more about, see, I guess for a lot of people, that defines the shift and change in culture. People don't realize, man, the hole that Marcus Freeman had to dig himself out of that was left by the previous regime, as far as the roster, the lack of depth, not really having top level guys or having not developed top level guys, and then getting them to a point that despite, I mean, this has been well chronicled, bro. They played the half the season without their two best pass rushers, bro. And then they lost their best interior player against Indiana and still found a way. Still found a way. They lost a first round cornerback and had to play a true freshman for a bulk of the season and still found a way. They lost a first round left tackle before the season and still find a way. That is what Notre Dame fans should be excited about, because that type of culture that you can speak to, Left, that you were part of, if those things happen under the previous regime, this season is not a playoff. This team is not a playoff team. None. It's not a playoff team. It's not. And it speaks to the culture shift. It speaks to the roster development, the roster change. The quarterback room is night and day from what it was with the previous regime. Night and day. The talent in the quarterback. And those are things that you look at that show up in moments like that when a team can give up. Trey Bowen had a tough night. This is with attitude. Trey Bowen was having a tough night.
yeah, tough night.
The hustle on the forced fumble shows you what he's all about. Never stop playing with a motor, punches the ball out, gives his team the chance to go down and score. Unfortunately, they missed the field goal, but that's effort, bro. That's attitude that really wasn't there in moments like that when Notre Dame was down. Just I can speak to that. Notre Dame fans can speak to that. Like you get down, Notre Dame would just play it out. And just play it out. Shake hands in the middle of the field. So for that, I'm with Notre Dame fans, right? But like I said, there ain't no moral victories, man. Nobody show up in Atlanta for moral victories.
Yeah, we didn't show up to play, man. That's just what it
Man,
is. We
dude,
didn't show up to play.
next year will take care of next year. Last night, Ohio State was the better operation from top to bottom. And you have to accept that. You have to accept that, bro. They were the better operation from
Yeah, yeah.
top to bottom. And so I heard Heather Dinich say this morning she's never been in a locker room that was more devastated. You know? And I'm sitting here saying that's probably like somebody speaking in the moment. Because when you lose, it's all the locker rooms are devastated. You lose a national championship game.
It was a national championship.
Yeah, so yeah, you know who I really feel for, bro? Two dudes that could have gone to the NFL draft. Because Ohio State had the same type of kids. Kids that could have gone to the NFL draft that chose to come back to get to that moment. Benjamin Morrison and Riley Mills both weren't able to experience what they came back to do because of injuries. I know a lot of kids are devastated by the loss, but for Riley, I'm sure that man, Riley Mills probably feels like he let his brothers down. He probably felt like he wasn't there for his brothers. I can't even imagine what the captain was going through on the sideline watching. And it wasn't just this game. He probably felt that during the Penn State game. He probably felt that during the Georgia game. Um, no, that's tough, bro. My heart goes out to that kid. My heart goes out to Benjamin Morrison. You know, injuries are tough, bro. Injuries are tough. So injuries are tough, bro. It is what it is. So yeah,
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
yeah, it's hard to even explain what we saw defensively last night, other than man, Chip Kelly was in his bag, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
Chip Kelly was in his bag.
in his bag.
He used the concepts of Notre Dame's defense against them because he understood their rules and he used it to open up backside holes in the running game. Because he would just use the motion to motion in, but then he would take the wide receiver across the play at the snap. And of course, that man is going to run with his guy. And now you have no leverage backside, right? That was genius, absolute genius. But it was the same thing Penn State was doing. That's why it's like, yo, Penn State did the exact same thing. You're not going to adjust to this or either anticipate that Ohio State might do this. That was it was crazy.
Oh,
Can I
man, it's
can I
just
show you this one play, bro?
yeah.
I think I brought it up. It's just this confused me. I want to make sure I bring up the right clip.
Oh man.
I think this is it right here. I think this is the play in question that everybody's talking about. Look at this, love. I want to take it back. Look at this. Look at this, bro. Does this not remind you of double safety blitz up at the horseshoe 2 years ago in the same type of clutch situation in the fourth quarter from Al Golden?
I mean, that's how you block it right though. I mean, they blocked it up perfect.
Yeah, left, but this is the thing. There is no twist, nothing. Nothing. You telegraph. Here's the problem, left. Why is this not Kingston coming off the edge? If you're going to have a linebacker come off the edge, why is it Drake Bowen? Let Kingston do that. Drake Bowen is better blitzing up the middle than Jack Kaiser. Why is he not the linebacker blitzing up the middle? Why is there not a game or a twist with Howard Cross and Josh Burnham? It's like, dude, this is just basic. Everybody's just coming straight ahead. All Will Howard needs is a second and a half. He knows where he's throwing the ball. That's it. As soon as he gets it, I'm throwing this up to Jeremiah Smith. And then X is the one that should be
Too far
safety
away.
help. He should be
Yeah, actually
safety help.
safety help for sure.
Why is he blitzing? Why are you blitzing Xavier Watts right here? Why? And then they had a Don Schuler man-to-man on a Buka. Why? Left, man, look. Dude, personnel, bad.
Oh.
Personnel, bad. Positioning, putting guys in position, bad. Ball, bad.
Just not how we like to play a championship game, man. I think they just bad.
It's bad. It's bad, man. It's just bad. It's just bad. And so now people ask Al Golden after the game, what's up with the Bengals defensive coordinator job? It was
The one he
reported.
just came from.
Well, you knew once Lou Amarillo was fired, you knew this was coming. You knew where the Bengals were coming. So it is what it is. But I'm not going to react emotionally to this game because Al Golden has done an incredible job.
Yeah,
He's done an incredible job. But I've said during the season, like, yo, sometimes Al does too much. Sometimes he just does too much in certain situations, right? And so that situation right there, 3rd and 11, is just one of those moments where it's like, come on, man, the situation didn't call for all of that. Not all of that.
overly aggressive.
Yeah. I understand you might want to get the ball out of his hands, but yeah, you can't get the ball out of his hands when they're max protection. If you're looking at the formation, you should be able to tell, okay, they're max protecting. They're max protecting this. Let's go ahead and put somebody over the top of Jeremiah to deter the deep pass. If Christian is going to play inside technique to take away the slant, you need to have somebody over the top to deter the go route. That's just in that situation. It's just baffling, bro. It's baffling. I would much rather you rush forward and run some stunts. Flat out. Rush forward, run some stunts, bring a Don Shula, line a Don Shula like you had him. Line him up over the top of Babuka, bring him on the blitz from the outside. Something different to add an extra rusher to make it 5. But that right there, that was desperation, bro. Wasn't smart, wasn't wise. It was just pure desperation.
Oh man.
See, and that's an excuse. I'm sorry, Ryan Loftus. That's an excuse, bro. It's a cop out. Al Golden played his defense. His defense is man to man. That doesn't mean you have to blitz cover zero.
Yeah.
That's you can play man to man and blitz and do both things and protect deep.
We're just blitzing to be blitzing.
It's just blitzing to be blitzing at that point, dude. There's no thought process to it. There was no creativity to it. It was just
No.
here we come. Everybody straight
Here we
A.
come. Here we come.
Yeah, dude, that's no. I can't let that one slide. No, you got to be better than that. You got to be better than that. And you can't say it worked all season. No, you didn't play Jeremiah Smith all season.
We played right into their hands, in my opinion.
No, and you didn't have Christian Gray off coverage all season. So that's not true. That's not true. That wasn't Al Golden's defense, having Christian Gray an off man. They didn't do that all season. They didn't. I'm not talking about one. I'm talking about the game, the entire game. And the game plan was not what Notre Dame did all year. It wasn't. Al Golden did not play his defense last night. He didn't.
He didn't.
Christian Gray and off-man coverage was not what they did all year. It's not. It's not. And what we've seen in 2 big moments against Ohio State is desperation, all-out cover zero blitz. For what? For what? For what? You're doing it for what? Everybody in the world knows he's getting the ball. Let your guy do what he does best. And if he gets beat, fine. I'm not going to ask him to get beat. playing what he plays at a lesser level. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not. I'm not.
Oh my goodness.
But that's the problem, Ryan. They changed their identity last night. That's
We
exactly
did.
what they did defensively. They
Change
changed
our
the momentum.
identity.
There was zero A-gap pressure at the snap.
Zero.
All playoffs. Drake Bourne and Jack Kaiser have been in the A-gaps at the line of scrimmage. They didn't do any of it last night. Christian Gray hasn't played off man at all. They did it last night. They were confused all night long. They didn't run, the defensive line didn't run any stunts last night. They ran stunts all year long. They didn't do any of it last night. Preparation was poor for that game. The game plan was poor for that game. And it wasn't what you did all year long. It wasn't. That's the issue. He didn't trust his guys. He didn't. He coached scared. He did not trust his guys. Because if he trusted Christian Gray, he would have told him he's your man, bump and run. Not play off of him 10 yards and put him in a position where he could either run inside or have to protect inside and the go route. That's not trusting your guys. That's putting your guys in a bad position. And we got to stop this. Just because somebody has a great resume, we can't bring up their failures. He failed his team last night. He failed his players last night. He failed them. He failed them with that game plan. He failed them. He allowed 2 consecutive offensive coordinators to take advantage of him on second down. Andy Kolicki did it, and Chip Kelly did it. We're not going to talk about that. We talk about all the great things he did. He got taken advantage of with his blitz packages 2 consecutive games. And last night, the blitz package was not creative at all. At all. Everybody in the world saw the dude. Ryan Day ran the ball and went max protect. That's all they did. So if you're going to blitz, you have to blitz from different areas. Just coming straight ahead with a linebacker out of the snap, where the quarterback gets a clean look at where everybody is before the snap, is not going to work. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
No, Lewis, you don't have to second guess him, man. Because I would want Al Golden back.
Yeah, we want. Yeah, he just was uncharacteristic last game.
Yeah, I would want him back. I definitely would want him back.
Yeah, definitely would love Al Golden
Definitely
back.
would want him back. But it just harkened back to that double safety blitz up at the horseshoe that led to that touchdown from a walk-on wide receiver. It's like, why? What are we doing? Why are we, once again, why are you putting your freshman at the time? It was Jay Mickey left. Why are you putting a true freshman that's just come in the game because Tariq Bracy, your senior nickelback, just went off the field with injury? A true freshman comes on the field and you leave him exposed. Just exposed. Who does that? That's not the wisest thing to do. You can sit up here and say, well, that's not wise. It doesn't make a difference whether or not that's what you do in that situation, Contextually, that's not the best thing to do. It's just not. And there were a lot of things last night that they did defensively that wasn't them, and it wasn't the best thing to do. It just wasn't. It wasn't. And Al Golden is a grown man. Dude, he does not need protecting. He had a tough 2 games, in my opinion. Had a tough 2 games.
We should have won, man.
No, they shouldn't have won, dude. They should not have won last night. They didn't play to win. They didn't coach to win. The quarterback wasn't good enough, and they didn't utilize their best players on offense. You don't win that way. That's not how you win football games. It's not. It's just not.
It's just not, man.
It's not how you win football games, bro. So you go back to the drawing board. That's all you can do. That's what sucks, man. You know how you get so far in a video game, and then you get killed, and you got to start all the way over
all
again.
the way over.
Oh, dude. That's what sucks. That's what sucks. Like, we got to go through it. We got to start this all over again. Yeah, that's the way it goes, man. That's the way it goes. Indy Milton fan, thank you for the GTB question. Sean, why do you think Al Golden called defecation so out of character? Oh. Oh, I appreciate you using the defecation word for me, Indy Milton fan. That's what's up. Trying to look out for your boy. I actually thought you were trying
I got
it. I thought he was trying to say, a nice word for,
yeah,
sugar honey iced tea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He was like, okay, why do you think he called such a okay.
Yeah, I
just think, man, honestly, I think it's just a combination of. I just think the moment was we overthought it. I honestly think we overthought it, and it's just tough, man, because you overthink it and then you counter it by playing too scared. It just didn't work out. It didn't work out. I'm upset of how we played. I'm just upset of how we played.
It's a big recruiting weekend. It's a lot of local kids, Indiana kids, Chicago kids, Midwest kids that will be on campus this weekend. Carter Osman has been doing an incredible job, along with the rest of the staff. I'll just speak to him and what he's been doing during this run. He's been making trips up to the Chicagoland area to talk to prospects, 26 kids and 27 kids. Hearing a lot of good things about him from the parents and the kids. A lot of good things about Carter Osman. Hey, yeah, dude, Notre Dame now, like, yo, who said that? God's nuclear ICBM. That's that Sega Genesis sugar honey iced tea altered beast day. Yeah, dude, you die. Like, can I at least be on the same board I died on? I gotta go all the way back to the beginning. Yeah, thank God that gaming has come a long way. Gaming has come a long way. Hey, Lef, have you ever do you throw controllers, Lef, as a gamer? Some of the gamers out there in the chat, they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure. Back in the day, used to get real tight, man.
Yeah. You felt like you wanted to throw the controller last night, didn't
you? I don't know. I was just upset of how we were playing. I didn't, it just, that wasn't. I didn't recognize the team. It'd be different than us just like going toe for toe and we losing on the last play or something. This was like, who is this team?
Mm-hmm.
And then when we got behind in a certain aspect, I just didn't believe we had the type of offense to rally off 3 scores when we needed to. So it just became a tough situation to put ourselves in, and it wasn't no getting out this time. But I am glad we can graduate from this moment and get a more capable guy, and why it's important having it's 2025. So getting a capable passer is definitely possible. We shouldn't go into seasons with a guy throwing less than 3,000 yards. It's just not a formula for success when you talk championship.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a great post here. Bear 24, we appreciate you as we appreciate all of LL Nation, the Irish Nation. We got through the turmoil and the tough things we had to talk about. Now we're about to, the sun is coming out, Left. You see it like reflected off the right side of my face right here. The sun is coming out, Left. Now we can start to look forward a little bit and talk about the good things about the season and what's right before us. But Bear 24 says we were missing tackles in the hole. I thought the first half against Penn State and the whole game versus Ohio State, our tackling was horrible. Yeah, I gave a couple of examples. Bear, you're exactly right, man. You're exactly right. Uncharacteristic, man. Just uncharacteristic. And a really good tackling team. One of the best tackling defenses we've seen at Notre Dame in a long time. One of the best. Joe Papiti, thank you. LL guys, thank you for your insight and truth all season. Proud of you boys and how they played. But what makes me upset is that we went down not playing our game. Joe, man, let me tell you something. I couldn't agree more with you. I do think the future is bright. Leonard showed true grit. That he did. That he did. That he did. He definitely showed true grit. So Left, coming out of last night's game, what do you feel like you got clarity on as far as, okay, this is the next thing for us. This is the next step.
Well, just stacking on why I think this is the beginning for a Marcus Freeman team. We see that from an exoskeleton's point of view, we got all the necessary things to have a consistently good program, a playoff achieving program. The things that's going to take us to the championship level is still the same things we talked about from the beginning of the year. A capable passer at quarterback, a D tackle or two up in the front, and we got to get some more receivers on a star level that can bring out some of the passing game that we're just lacking. I think for us to be so good in so many different areas, we still didn't have, or at least treated our star players on offense like the X factors in times of need.
Mm-hmm.
We became a team that was, win by community almost. And I think that when you get in those situations, it gets tough when you're facing a team like an Ohio State, a team that's in the finals, because regardless of sport, ex players make the plays to win the game. Ohio State got the ball to Jeremiah Smith. That's their best player, one of the better players on the field, and they made the effort to highlight that. The run game. Our best player in Jeremiah Love, for him not to be highlighted at the most important time, that's an identity thing that can be fixed, but it's more of the habit that we let it become a bad habit for. I've said it all spring. I said, okay, outside of Jeremiah Smith, who are X factors on offense? Who are the guys when it gets tough? Who are we leaning on? And Riley Leonard is not one of those guys. And whenever we put the offense through him, it looks like how it looks like. It's a lot to be desired. Where are the other factors and pieces at if everything is going through him? And that's just a trap. that we played ourselves with, which is unfortunate. But next year, I think the onus does go back on having a very capable passer because there are no excuses. The only thing you can do to complement giving the ball more to Jadarian and Jeremiah Love is throwing the football, and thankfully we can get less of a quarterback concerted effort to run next year, and we can hopefully balance ourselves out, being able to use Jeremiah Love and Jadarian as the forefront and
Yeah.
not the sidecar to an offense that it doesn't have to be just run through the quarterback. So,
Boy, they had some good arm candy. That cat Riley Leonard had some good arm candy, boy.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
That's basically what the running backs were this year. They were arm candy.
and that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense when that's not the best player on your offense. It doesn't make sense to not only neglecting, but then giving. I don't know. It just goes, who did you expect the points to come from if it wasn't Jeremiah Love last night? That was the question. Who did we expect it to come from? Riley couldn't score 5 touchdowns in a row. So who did we expect these points to come from with a Jeremiah Love with 4 carries?
Mm-hmm.
That's not an equation for success. If you ask Denbrock before the game, hey, you can only give Jeremiah Love 4 carries this game, where else are we going to score points from? What is your response going to be? Oh, we're going to have 350 yards passing with Riley? No. So what is the logical answer to that? So that's where that sentence alone made it tough to watch the game because it's like, okay, well, what are we watching? What are we watching? If we're not watching our main player, Jeremiah Love, who's been the star of the show all season, if he's only getting 4 carries, how is Notre Dame going to get to 30 points? How? Who is it going to come from? We don't have so yeah, so that's why I think next year is even more important because now the onus goes back on Geno developing his pass game through the quarterback, along with Mike Brown at the receiver coach and the guys that we have coming in. It's another opportunity to at least be in a position where our defense doesn't have to carry the lion's share of the weight. It's more of a balancing act, just like how these quarterback recruits come to Notre Dame and say, I got to wait another year to see what the offense looks like. This next year's offense is not going to look anything like this year, which is a positive, but hopefully it's to balance us out. Like,
it would definitely not look like this year's offense.
Michigan only won one time doing it the way they won a championship because it just proves that eventually you can't have a random quarterback who's not productive throwing the football in 2025. Even if you build your team to be run based, at some point your quarterback has to say, okay, let me balance this out with some good passes here and there. We just didn't have that balance and became very, I don't know. It's like if you don't give it to Jeremiah Love, how did you expect to score points? And that's what I was frustrated with the whole game because I'm like, if he's not getting it, who else needs to get it more than him at this moment? And if it's 1-3, then that's just not enough. It's just not enough. So
it just goes back to when Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love gets hurt at the end of Georgia. You know he's injured. When Notre Dame could do nothing offensively against Penn State, what did they come out of halftime with left?
Running the ball up the middle with Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love. What one play got played over and over again that epitomized that comeback victory against Penn State? A 2-yard touchdown run from who?
Jeremiah Love.
Ladies and gents, we can sit up here and play games all we want to. We can talk about this guy being great. This guy needs more carries. This guy needs more touches. 4 is the dude on this team.
That's right.
offensively speaking. He's the dude. And until everybody recognizes that, I think Notre Dame knows that. Penn State game was evidence. Like, yo, we're going to get going. We have to get this rock to four. And he's not even at his best. But he's going to get us going. That's it, man. It's a heavy dose. 4, 24, 20, 21. Everybody in that, especially with the young quarterbacks that I anticipate starting next year, one of them, it's a heavy dose of those running backs and shots down the field left. That's what it is. Malachi Fields stretching the field. Jaden Greathouse killing cats in the slot. Jordan Faison, jet sweeps, gadget plays, screens. Jordan Faison will finally be in his correct position as the third wide receiver. That's what we've been saying, Left. He's not a number one.
He's not number one.
If he's your number one, you got a problem. Now he's going to be option 2 or 3, depending on the play. That's where he's supposed to be. That's his right position. And you get the Washington kid, the tight end, transfer from Arkansas. Let's get it. Let's get it. Hopefully Cooper Flanagan comes back. Jack Larson takes a step forward. Eli Raridan made some plays last night. Make some things happen. Let's get to some more super chats, love. Thank you guys for tapping in. Let's see. Did we hit this one? I'm not sure. West Palm Pat, thank you for the super chat. How, why were Ohio State wide receivers so wide open? Did we switch to a zone defense after playing man all season long? It's a combination of things. Left, I can say it. They're a man team, but they played a lot of off-man free release. If you're not going to pressure Will Howard and then give free releases to talented receivers, they're going to get open.
They're going to get open, yeah.
They're going to get open. You did nothing to either mess up the timing of the receivers, to put pressure on Will. You did nothing. You just did absolutely nothing. You sat there and you allowed Ohio State to pick and choose what they wanted to do, when they wanted to do it. And once Will Howard got comfortable, you see what happened.
Yeah. Once any quarterback gets that comfortable, it's over with, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's as simple as that. It was really as simple as that. Trex, what's the level of expectation for next year? And Indy really knocking on the door? How you feeling about that, Love?
I think that we got to see what offseason moves are made. I think the quarterback position being answered, let that play out. It's just way too early type predictions. I think that we can be better as a team. It's just the fact that we're going to look totally different offensively next year, to the point where I'm almost like, scrap what you've seen so far this year. Scrap that. That's not how we're moving forward next year, which is a lot to adjust to and recreate an identity for. Obviously, Jeremiah Love needs to be featured, but now he's featured in a different way, considering he's not the arm candy to a quarterback who's getting more carries and more yards than him. So now you're looking at a totally differently ran offense, which is different than what Michigan still stayed the same way. They won that way, heavy run game and all linemen and all good defense. The next year, they didn't change their offensive identity and they didn't make the improvements needed. They lost some games. With us, we're changing our entire offensive identity. And we are going to be more dependent on the quarterback throwing the football. We should, because that's the normal fit to make it to a consistent championship run. And because we don't know the trigger man yet, it's hard to just judge us as a team that's going to just get right back. It's not like Clemson with Deshaun Watson. You throw
Mhm.
for 400 yards plus in the game and you feel good about coming back next year. Because losing this game, you're like, oh, we threw for 400 yards. We just need another stab at it. This isn't about having another stab at it. This is we need to look different to get back here to be in a different form. We can't get there next year looking like this. We can't get to a championship game next year with a quarterback under 2,500 yards. It just cannot ever work. It will never work. So, how is Jeremiah Love going to be featured next year? He's going to have more than 7 carries in a game. Naturally, he'll probably have 12 to 15, and that's still doing the running back by committee. But Riley Leonard was taking so much of the lion's share of carries from our running backs that it just will change the dynamic of our offense.
That dude was the leading rusher for this team, bro,
Yes, like
for a large portion of the season. Like, I'm
so
telling
now
you, man,
you're saying,
Mike Denbrock, boy, that cat Mike Denbrock, that's a humble dude, man.
yeah,
That's a man of humility to just totally push your plans to the side and your vision for the Notre Dame offense and say, look, I got to rebuild this offense around this kid.
seriously, to the point where it's like we almost had no other way to win if it wasn't through Riley. It felt like you conditioned everybody else to be a support role to Riley. And when Riley isn't having a spectacular game, everybody's like, well, I'm only getting the ball 6 times, if that. So,
Yeah. Ryan Loftus, we thank you for the super chat. Call it now. Starting quarterback 2025. Who you got? Irish then, Irish now, Irish forever. Thank you, Ryan. Oh, you already know who Left is rocking with. He's been saying it for 2 years. But
I want a more capable passer. That's what I want. Whatever name fits that.
attached to that,
Whatever name fits capable passer or consistent passer. I mean, like, because the thing is, we're not going in with a quarterback not only of the same talents, but not even a starter. Like this, whoever it is a first time starter again. So we're dealing with a first time starter coming in. Like you can't even watch tape. If I'm Kenny Minchie, CJ Carr, uh, any of those guys, I'm not going to sit there and watch this year's tape and be like, this is going to help me get better for next year.
yeah.
That's the most detrimental part to this whole thing. That's why I can't tell what we're going to do next year. Because what are we going based off of?
Mm-hmm.
We know we got a superstar in Love, but we just showed that we can easily not use him, right? As effectively as a number one you would think. Like, Michigan, they ran the hell out of Donovan Edwards. They ran the hell out of their running backs. What
Yeah.
else? How do we respond offensively when Bo Collins is gone, Chris Mitchell is gone, Riley Leonard is gone, Jaden Greathouse isn't used to having more than 50 receptions in the season. Jeremiah Love is our best player, but he was averaging 8 carries in a game. There's 60 plays in a game. You're losing production and offensive style, losing one guy. Like we losing a lot, losing one guy.
But then you just said something that's very important, Left. I think the tempo of this offense and the number of plays is going to elevate next year. I think Notre Dame will be between 70 to 75 plays next year. I don't
Yeah,
think
but
they'll be in the 60s.
that requires a more capable passer, a more
Mm-hmm.
balanced offense,
Yeah.
which literally makes the whole offensive scheme different. Like I don't blame quarterback recruits. They have to literally wait until this spring to see what we're doing.
Yeah.
If you ask Denbrock right now what we're looking like next year, he has no idea. Because he had to do such a revamping of his own offense to make one guy comfortable. Like, do people realize how much we had to cater a
Yeah.
game plan week to week for a guy that didn't fit what Denbrock does naturally. Denbrock just had look at Jaden Daniels in the NFL right now. That's what Denbrock had going for him. You go from that, a literal guy that might be in the Super Bowl.
That dude, that's a dude.
And then
He's
have
a
two first
dude,
round receivers on top of that.
man.
That all three of them are up for Rookie of the Year.
That's
That's what
crazy.
Denbrock was just killing it.
Yo, until you said that, I didn't realize that. All three of those dudes are up for NFL Rookie of the Year.
All three of them. And they all on the same team under Mike Denbrock running a totally different offense than what you saw last night and what Riley Leonard has ever experienced. So for Denbrock to be able to do such drastic 180 differences in just a year change, still have more success. That's a very good job by him. Because we've seen good passing numbers from Tommy Reese and Drew Pine, but we weren't sniffing championships.
Mm.
So to sniff a championship, revamping the offense, you don't even run. Most of this stuff that Denbrock ran with Riley is thrown out. I would say 50% of the playbook is gone. Riley took it with him. We probably gave it to him. We didn't even want it. We don't even want that part of the playbook. But that's 50% of the entire offense. There is a lot to fill in those gaps. You got to fill in who's going to get the ball. What are we going to do on offense? There is no more third and short. Run it with Riley up the middle. We got to use our talent. We got to get a quarterback that's capable of distributing the football. And that's sad that we're saying a guy that's capable. We ain't even saying a good one. We just saying a guy that's capable. Oh my gosh, that's so silly. We went to the national championship with a guy that wasn't capable. Will Howard is the definition of very capable. Nothing special, just very capable. He can do it. If you give him a chance, he can do it. So when you're running for 214, yes, he's capable of throwing a couple good passes down the field. We weren't capable of doing that to the point where even quarterback recruits need to suspend themselves from watching this year because they know there's nothing about this offense that applies to them moving forward. So that's a reselling point for Geno. I feel bad.
Spotlight. Oh, Geno is it? Oh, it's hey Geno.
I kind of feel bad for Geno. Geno came in.
I don't.
Geno came in with Sam Hartman.
He's been stealing money.
Didn't coach him.
He's been stealing money left.
He's been money. I wouldn't say stealing. He's been on ice.
Yeah. Because you couldn't hold him accountable for Sam.
Geno, you can't. That's what I'm saying. You can't hold him accountable for Sam.
Riley.
Sam can't hold him accountable for Riley.
Now, yeah, buddy. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but think about his position. He's like, okay, we're filling in 50% of an offense that didn't exist last year with a first-time starter, with the guys that I like in the room. But even with the guys that I like, the stuff that we ran, I can't even build on that. I can't build on, if I got CJ Carr as my starter, I can't build on anything last year or the year before. So just like Max Bullock, this was his first year coaching, quote unquote. This is Geno's first year coaching, quote unquote. Geno has been shelved or iced. I wouldn't say he's been stealing money. He just hasn't had a role on the team, really. I mean, seriously. Riley's not getting coached by Geno Gaduli at all. I'm not going to be fooled to think that he was influential. First of all, I don't remember the last time Riley even mentioned Geno in his interviews or nothing. He talks about Denver, which is very telling. He doesn't go like, shout out to Geno, get me ready. Shout out to Geno. No, he just literally talks about Denver. Oh, Denver gives us some plays of practice and we run them. Da, da, da. So it just shows that Geno's importance to this team is ever so important and how he works with Denbrock moving forward. I think that they got some semblance of a continuity and got on a roll in the spring when they were dealing with guys that were healthy, that are capable passers. Like I feel like Steve was prepared for these moments this year because he was getting the proper coaching in the spring. So he didn't feel out of touch when they threw him in there at random times because he has literally put in the work. He was leading the team in the spring. He was running the show. The offense was different. All this stuff that we're seeing this year is stuff we made up in the year, in week 5, in the bye week. That's where our offense became in the season. But it didn't look anything like it did in the spring. That's where you put in the stuff. That's where you put the work in. That's where you really put your identity down at its foundational level in the spring with Steve, Kenny, CJ Carr. Now it makes sense. You just throw guys to Denbrock in the middle of week 5 and say, make it work. Well, he made it work. But when it came down to playing against a team that's you got to have a legit attack, a strategy, an identity, we didn't commit to it, and half of it we were incapable of. So I'm excited to see how Geno steps up as a coach with a first-time starter, with an offense that is not going to look anything like next year, in its core elements. And how does the team respond to that? Does the team get more excited that Riley's gone? I guarantee you Micah Gilbert's probably a little more excited. KK Smith's a little more excited. These guys that know they have talent at receiver room, as much as they love Riley, I'm sure they're a little more excited about the future of where the quarterback position is going. Because now they get to catch the ball. Just imagine a Notre Dame team that can throw and run the ball.
Yeah.
We might have beat Ohio State, honestly.
When's the last time we actually had that? Oh,
No, seriously. Well, we can literally throw and run the football like a normal team, like a normal offense. Ohio State just ran and threw the football. They didn't have any certain quality special thing that they just like, oh, they just kicked. No, they just ran.
They ran the ball, max protect,
and they
play
threw,
action.
and they threw the yeah, like that is a great game plan and a healthy offense. You don't go into an offense and call it healthy when you have your quarterback leading the team in rushing. That's not a healthy offense. Yeah. That's Kirk like a deformity or some shit.
Kirk D.A. Anderson Fitness. Thank you for the super chat. Tackled the running backs. They got several more yards after contact. When Caleb Downs tackled our guys, they immediately stopped moving forward. What do you guys think?
I don't think we had enough of attention to focus on our best players getting the football. So, they tackled what was there, and we never challenged Caleb Downs down the field. We let Caleb Downs play 10 yards from the line of scrimmage all game. He wasn't worried about the ball going over his head. So, I mean, it's easy when you're playing everything in front of you. Caleb Downs never had to turn around and run for anything. So how locked in can you really get, right? If you never have to look behind you or worry about something getting behind you and you're the safety, there was no threat to neither one of those safeties, which makes the job naturally harder because now you're playing on a short field all the time. Because guys are like, just like in baseball, they're like, bring it in. He ain't got to go that far. He ain't finna knock nothing over that fence. Now the game is twice as hard because everybody's right there. They're not worried about you going over their head. So we do half of the defense's job for them. How easy is it for Jim Knowles to scheme up different crazy pressures and, limit our offense when he's like, dude, we trust our corners and they're not going past 20 yards more than 3 times in a game. That's easy for any defense to any good defense to have a good day versus.
Yeah. Another one from Kirk D.A. Anderson. Fitness. We played a good game. Some people say recruiting doesn't matter, but it does. Ohio State has the better players, and their coaching staff is as good or better than ours. Xavier Watson is elite. But when that was the first part of the other, I'm sorry, Kurt. I actually read your super chats in reverse. Um, but when he tackled the running backs, they got several more yards after contact. When Caleb Downs tackled our guys, they immediately stopped moving forward. What do you guys think? Well, as far as directly to, that's not fair. X is not a in the box safety. He is a free safety. He is a
Yeah,
ball.
he roams around.
Yeah, he's not Cal Hamilton. That's 6'4", 2. It's not who he is. Caleb Downs is a in the box, very versatile. Caleb Downs can be a taking advantage. Texas took advantage of Caleb Downs when he played at Alabama in the
Yeah,
pass game
they
because
threw it over his head.
he threw it over his head because he's not as good in coverage as he is being down in the box and coming down here. And he played to his strength. That's why I say on the biggest play of the game, why is X being used to blitz? Why? Why? Let him ball hawk. Let him back Christian Gray up.
Yeah.
So I don't have any thoughts towards that specifically. No, I don't have, because I can say for the simple fact that Ohio State's linebackers would hit Riley Leonard and he would keep the pile going for 2 yards. So, I think as far as X, that's apples to oranges. They're two totally different players. And they're built totally different. X came off he made a great play on Jeremiah Smith where they tried to get him on the jet sweep. Took him down for a loss. So, GTB question from Eric O'Brien: which Ohio State team the last 3 years was the best this year? It's not even close. This year, without question. Brian Hatton, if you are loved, do you explore your options not being used in the championship? Nah.
No, for what? I mean, if anything, we're still giving him the best situation of staying healthy and intact to get through an entire season, at least mostly intact, and him still having close to 1,500 yards. So situationally, I don't think he's going to find a better place unless they're like, oh, we're going to give you $10 million. You know what I mean? If that's the case, then yeah, you should go get $10 million.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna look. Let's not be.
Yeah, we're not gonna front on that.
And because some schools throwing some numbers, some crazy. So if he's getting a crazy number, we should not be worried about. We shouldn't even be worried about his pockets. But situationally, from a football standpoint, he's already a first round talent. He's already showed on film his athleticism and his breakaway speed, and his whole thing is about being efficient, having the carries that make sense. But it would be nice to have an offense that's focused around him, where he's not going games where he has 7 carries or 4 carries for 3 yards, or where he's consistently knowing, okay, I know I'm going to get 12 to 15 every game. And he can still stay healthy with those 12 to 15 carries. It's just we don't have a quarterback just absorbing the football.
Yeah.
It's like he just that's why you can't, a player like Riley Leonard, you need to have lesser players around him because he's such an absorbent of the football that it takes away from guys that are more talented because he gets the ball every play. That's how he plays. So when you put him in a situation like Duke, it looks really good because those other players aren't better than Riley. So Riley needs to have the ball all the time. But when Riley is not the best player on the field and he's getting the ball all the time, Now you're having questions and wonders because he can't get it to the better players consistently.
Yeah.
His game is I have to be Superman because I'm limited in being able to give the ball to other players. So playing around lesser players is better for me because I can depend on myself, but that's not winning football in these situations. We need a guy that can give the ball to players that are better than him around him, and that's going to make us better. Not
Yeah.
we have to feed into Riley. Not and this is just a style of play that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When Terrell Pryor was at Ohio State, people had to play off of Terrell Pryor. But when Troy Smith was there, you saw other stars like Ted Ginn. He's winning the Heisman, right? Because there was a balance. Riley Leonard, there's no balance in your offense unless, like, if you have nothing, like if you were at Duke, yes, give the ball to Riley every time because we don't have any other players. But when you have Jeremiah Love and Riley Leonard, if you're an offensive coordinator, you would be doing a disservice to the team by giving Riley Leonard more carries. Because that's not the maximum production that you can get. The maximum production you can get when you have Riley at Duke is Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard at Notre Dame is not going to give you the maximum production when he's taking the absorbing of the carries and the ball. Because we have better players that can give us better numbers. If Jeremiah Love was getting a healthy running back carry number, his numbers would be even crazier than what they are now. Just that's why we're saying he is no doubt the best player on our team offensively, because in limited, non-leading the team in rushing numbers, he still stacks up in the top 5 in running backs. How do you do that? How do you in the top 5 in running backs in the country and you're not even the leading rusher on your team? That's not a healthy offense. Like how they do health checks on your credit and your financial status, where you can have cancerous spending habits or something. It is an unhealthy offense for you to have a top 5 running back in the country and he's not even the leading rusher on your team. Because you have to, but then the question asks, well, what are y'all doing? How are y'all winning games when your best player isn't even the best player? He doesn't even have the most rushes. So it's like that spells for a tough way to call football games, where you put yourself in a box of, I go from 60 plays to I can only call 5 plays 60 different ways. And that's what I felt like Denbrock was faced with. I got 5 plays I can run with Riley that he's comfortable with and that he can do something with. I have to dress these 5 plays up 60 different ways instead of having 60 different plays. Our offense next year, like you said, is going to be 70 to 75 plays because we're going to call more than just 5 plays. We're actually going to have 60 different play calls or 60 different, that's a lot better for Mike Denbrock than saying we have 5 runs, 5 passes. Let's mix it up in different formations as much as we can. Because if we don't, we're not going to have success.
Yep. Kurt gave us another super chat. He said, I didn't know that. Thanks for educating me. Kurt, that's what we're here. Man, we're here for the fans, man. That's why we spin it different. That's why we spin it different. This was dope too. We got some more GTB questions. Kanea Kala C-A, thank you for this comment in the chat. I just thought I'd pull it up in connection with what you was just saying, Love. Saying I wasn't impressed with the tight end this year. Evans wasn't no mayor. I hope that we can bring in some 4 to 5 star tight ends. Well, of course, Mitchell Evans isn't Michael Mayer. But we don't know what Mitchell Evans was. Mitchell Evans was frustrated the first half of the season. Why was he frustrated, Love?
Because Mitchell Evans was a highly rated tight end coming into this year and expected the ball like he did with Sam Hartman. In the first 5 games, it was super underwhelming, where he was visibly frustrated. Hell, the team was visibly frustrated with Riley for the first 5. We were talking about a team that went to championship. For the first 5 weeks of the season, they did not like that quarterback.
I'm not gonna say they didn't like him, but
I'm saying they didn't like the production on the field from the quarterback's play
okay.
because it
That's
did not meet the expectation of what those guys thought coming in. Well, remember what those guys were talking about? He's Lamar Jackson, just white or something, and oh, he can throw the ball like. Oh, I'm like, oh my god, we're so yeah. They may have had some.
Marcus Freeman squashed that real fast. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They must have had an inflated sense of self that when they got to these games, they were kind of disappointed. But it was like, dude, you should have been listening to the podcast. I told you it wasn't going to be peaches and cream. So yeah, I mean, I understand why Mitchell Evans was upset. Hell, I would be too. You affected my draft stock, brother.
that's basically what it was.
Yeah, you affected my draft. Like,
Yeah.
what if
Hey,
what if
man.
what if we had Michael Mayer with this guy Riley Leonard? Michael Mayer probably would have quit the team by now. He wouldn't have no 100 receptions. Are you kidding me? Michael Mayer would be like, "What is the hell is going on?"
John Massey, Lil Tunchi with the GTV. Unfortunately, when Notre Dame gets in these big games, they get matched up with all-time teams: 18 Clemson, 20 Bama, and this Ohio State team. Meanwhile, Michigan gets Washington, and Georgia gets TCU. Hey, man, that's the way the cookie crumbles, man.
We wanted Ohio State. We just didn't call the game characteristically like we should. And it's going to be a totally drastically different offense for Mike Denbrock next year. He's going to have another first-year starter. He's going to have to figure out how he's going to make this offense work with this first-year starter with different capabilities. And I think that's just going to, I mean, defensively, if we don't lose Al Golden, I think we get better due to the fact that kids get a little bit older. All the linebackers another year, secondary still young.
Yeah. Is there any position where you question whether or not they're going to be better next year?
I would obviously just question the D line production.
That's fair.
Because who we're bringing in and who we lost and getting back, and how do they, take that next step to making us better? Just do we have a D lineman that stands out like a Justin Tuck or a Stephon Tuitt or Romeo Cora in some ways, right? Do we have a guy that can be a prominent de facto Jack Sawyer type of figure for us in the D line? Because truthfully, still, our defensive line was by production. We along the way we said, okay, Traore got some potential, Patello stepping up, but there was no Chase Young or Nick Bosa or bona fide stud.
No, Bryce Young is.
We'll get there.
Yeah, he'll get there.
He'll get. That's what I'm saying.
Well, see, this is the thing. Bryce Young played a lot more. This is why. This is a byproduct of those injuries. Bryce probably should have been a star on special teams, getting spot duty against backups late in games. Because if Botello and Traore don't go down, Bryce Young is not getting the snaps that he got. He's not.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He's not getting this.
So now you can look at his development and say, "Oh man, I expected more." No, he wasn't.
No, you didn't expect him to play.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. But with Young not even expecting to play just proves my point of we didn't have a star that we was leaning on going into the season. Young became a better player and developed, but we didn't think him preseason All-American. He's our first round defensive lineman. I think that's the type of expectation that we're looking for from a production side, because that's what generally championship teams have. They at least got one or two. I mean, we're making it work, but let's be honest. If we need to get on a wave of balance, you need a bona fide pass rusher. I know that we have a lot of 1As, 1Bs, and that's great. But in times like Ohio State, when we need to get some pressure on Will Howard, we need to be able to look down that D line and be like, who are we paying to get sacks on this line?
Yeah.
Seriously, who were we paying last night to get sacks on our D line? Everybody's just a good player. Everybody's just good. No greatness, just everybody just good. Howard Cross is a good player.
Yeah.
But I'm not paying Howard Cross $2 million to get sacks every year. I'm not gonna get a return on investment. And that's not saying that Howard shouldn't play or can't play at Notre Dame. It's just we don't have a $2 million guy.
Yeah.
I mean, $2 million from the perspective of playing and expecting 10, 12 sacks in a season. Like, we don't have a guy like that. We're just hoping that because we have a lot of guys that can play, that they develop and we can have a good D line. But Al Washington needs to push for having a star that's on that defensive line, something to be proud of. I think the second thing you can question is on the defense is how are we filling in on that secondary unit? You're losing Xavier Watts.
I said that was a question, but I'll say this: they have a chance to be better than they were this
year. Yes, they have a chance, but it requires where's Mike Mickens? Where's Mike Mickens in this process?
Stroman is a very good pickup. Devontae Smith, the nickel from Alabama, they got two top-notch players in the secondary.
They said the guy from Bama is injury prone though.
And when you go from Thomas Harper was injury prone at Oklahoma State before he came to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So Devontae Smith was healthy this year for the first time at Alabama and played very well. And let's look at the track record of nickel in the transfer for Notre Dame. Thomas Harper, Jordan Clark. Pretty good. Jordan Clark was better than Thomas Harper. I think Devontae Smith is probably better than them both.
Right.
The Stroman kid is not
good. Hell, Jordan Clark, I felt like it's been our best.
He played his butt off last night.
That's what I'm saying. I think that was our best nickel player in the last couple years. Last couple of years, he's been our best nickel player.
No, he's only been here 1 year.
No, I'm saying his production this year has been our best.
He's been the best of the last 2 years.
Yeah. Like he's came in, and I mean that's somebody that was beyond expectation.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so Stroman from Virginia Tech, he's a dude. Is he Xavier Watts? Probably not. But Adon Schuler takes a step. The defensive backs take a step. Carson Hobbs, what does he do? What do the freshmen do when they come in? Mike Mickens has a track record of having one freshman that's ready to go each and every recruiting cycle. Like you said, Left, the linebackers, they're going to be better. Matt Faramo comes in, right? You have the redshirt freshmen that are going to be better and ready to go next year. For me, it's going to come down to what you said, Left. Al Golden is a very important component. Despite our disappointment in last night, he's a very important component. We love to have him back. We want him to stay, to keep that continuity, to allow Mike Mickens to continue to do his thing with the defensive backs, so we don't have to go find another defensive back coach. All of that. I want all of that to stay the same. That's vitally important. We'll watch it play out over the next week or two. Defensive line, Left, you laughed at it, but that cat Marcus Freeman said he has the best defensive line scout team in the nation. That means
what does that even mean?
That means all his youngsters that are red shirting are dudes. That's what he's telling us. I got some young dudes coming. Okay. Let's see. Al Washington, let's see. Somebody said it in the chat, and I don't want to rain on that parade. Brian Hatton, GTB, was Riley Leonard, ran too much in that first drive. Why not run Love Price more in the second and third series if Riley was tired? that look, we've exhausted that topic. Like, we've exhausted that topic. There's nothing else to say. Indy Milton fan, did you see promising things from Mike Brown and wide receivers this year that gives you confidence that with a different quarterback, they would be more productive? Did you not see Jaden Greathouse the last 2 games? Did you not? Can we? All right. Maybe people aren't getting it because we're sugarcoating. Because I think somebody else said this in the chat or the question about the tight ends. There's a prominent 27 quarterback that has offers from just about every top program out of the Chicagoland area. 27 quarterback. I think I wrote this story over at Irish Breakdown. He knows his top program. Notre Dame is one of his top programs because it's Notre Dame. Flat out. It's Notre Dame. He's a Chicago kid. But as far as the offense that he fits, he mentions programs like Nebraska, Michigan, pro-style offenses. And he said, I honestly can't give Notre Dame an honest look until I see what the offense looks like.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. We can't even.
He used this person because they played together on the same the 7-on-7 squad. But he was like, I can't really see what their offense is going to be until CJ plays.
Exactly. And that's still.
So, ladies and gents, you can't be critical of the wide receivers and tight ends.
When even recruits see it for themselves, they can't even get a good evaluation of it.
Because the passing
recruits
game
are telling you.
The passing game was limited, man.
So if we interviewed the receiver room right now, do you feel like they would say, oh, we could have done something more to add to this year if we had a chance? Absolutely. They took a back seat this season. I mean, come on, what are the conversations in the receiver room this year really, really focused on? They're looking at the same numbers we look at. They're like, oh, Riley, quarterback, is leading the team in rushing. Not even Tyler Buckner was doing that.
Yeah. Let me. Can I be honest for a second? Can I be honest for a second? And I need Notre Dame fans because we're talking about the future. Notre Dame fans need to really understand what it is to be a Notre Dame fan and stop asking for things that aren't realistic. Notre Dame is not going to recruit multiple top 100 defensive tackles in any cycle. Defensive tackles are getting $300,000 to $400,000 in NIL money. Notre Dame's not doing that. So stop saying that we need to go get 4 and 5 stars on the defensive line at D tackle. Notre Dame's not paying that money.
Now, how much is it?
$300,000 to $400,000. That's just
that's nothing.
That's just getting the conversation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's just to start the conversation. That's not even like that's not counting the back end.
Oh my
goodness.
That's just
in conversation. Wide receivers, top wide receivers are not. That's why people are like trying to get on Mike Brown. Name the last top receiver that came to Notre Dame.
Will wasn't considered.
No, Will was a 3-star. He wasn't the top.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He wasn't considered a top receiver.
Name the last top receiver. Wide receiver.
I guess Rico Flores, right?
That's Rico was he was a 4,
right?
Like top 150. Rico was top. Maybe Rico was top 150. I don't think he was.
But he's not a Jeremiah. When's the last
Jeremiah might have been, but I'm talking about like a dude. Like,
yeah, when was the last Jeremiah Smith walkthrough?
Michael Floyd. Yeah, when was the last Michael Floyd that just stepped on the field as a freshman?
We haven't had.
Was a dude.
Well, when's the last time we've trusted a Michael Floyd as a freshman? Because Tobias we didn't do it with.
But my point is, Left, it goes hand in hand. Marcus Freeman had to change the talent in the quarterback room because usually wide receivers go where they see a history of wide receiver production.
Yeah, Carnell Tate.
There is no consistent history of wide receiver production.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're not about to just start lining up 4 and 5 star wide receivers at Notre Dame. It's not happening because
not
wide receivers are number one, they're divas. They're all about their numbers. And unless you find a special kid that just loves academics, his family, and Notre Dame, and he happens to be a 5-star, and they just fall in your lap,
I'm not counting on it.
more than likely you're not getting one of those guys. And it's one thing to want that. I want a Jeremiah Smith.
Well, Cam Williams, he just wasn't. Cam Williams is highly rated.
Cam.
I forgot about Cam. Michael Gilbert is good.
Michael
KK Smith is good.
Michael Gilbert is
I actually like our receivers.
Well, see, this is another thing. Ladies and gents, I love 83. Love 83. He is
of 83, but he needs to get that Aldrich Estime graduation. He needs the Aldrich Estime graduation. We love you. You have done everything that we could have asked, and you were probably a top option this year. But next year, we need you to give us some space. Let these young bucks, like the young linebackers that came in as a group and took over, that Michael Gilbert, KK Smith, those guys are got to start moving the tables around a little bit. Because at the end of the day, they say we don't have no talent.
Let me say this. It's funny. It's funny. Look, man, I see the conversation going on surrounding Cam Williams. Just stop, man. Stop saying he can't be that good and stop saying he was injured, He didn't get the job done. He got surpassed by Michael Gilbert. Yes. Doesn't mean that he's not good, and it doesn't mean that his injury was an issue.
Right.
People were better in the wide receiver room, and he has work to do.
Yes.
He's extremely fast, extremely explosive. I talked about it during the spring. I talked about it on this podcast. He was struggling with route running in the spring. In the drills, he was struggling with route running. And Mike Brown had to make him do things over and over again in the spring. So it has nothing to do with his physical gifts. He is learning. He is learning. This microwave mentality when it comes, he's a true freshman, man. He's learning. Let him learn. To use his injury as a reason for why he didn't see the field and he's a true freshman, that's weak. I don't want to hear that. He didn't see the field because he was struggling with the nuances of the position. And Michael Gilbert would have gotten more plays if he didn't drop touchdown passes when he had opportunities against Purdue and I think against Stanford as well. They wanted Michael Gilbert to get more snaps. He did not take advantage of the opportunities when he got them. If he had, he would have gotten more play time. They gave him the opportunity. They put him in position to get on the field, and he didn't take advantage of the opportunities. Cam Williams has yet to take advantage of the opportunity that has been afforded to him. Has nothing to do with his talent, has nothing to do with him being a freshman. He hasn't kicked the door down. He had the same opportunity and chance to get those opportunities that Michael Gilbert got, and he didn't do it. Had nothing to do with him being hurt. Has nothing to do with him being a freshman. I'll leave it at that because I can go deeper But I don't need to go deeper than that. There is no Jeremiah Smith in the wide receiver room at Notre Dame.
Right.
There is none. But in the same breath, the wide receivers were held back by the lack of the downfield passing game this year.
Facts.
That's in direct connection to the
Quarterback position.
and how the offense had to be shifted in the middle of the season.
Middle of the season. Because in the spring, they was throwing the ball all around.
Chris Mitchell did not come to Notre Dame for what we watched. He
No.
didn't.
No.
That's not how things were sold to him.
No. Chris Mitchell knows about catching the football.
And so I can't in good conscience say, oh, the tight ends didn't impress me. Oh, the wide receivers didn't impress me. Dude, you have high school recruits saying, we don't know what the offense is going to look like because this isn't the offense that the OC wants. High school kids can see that.
High school kids can see that.
I don't know what the wide receivers are supposed to look like. I can't tell because they're running the offense that they have to right now to win games. If a high school kid is saying that.
Yeah.
So Mike Brown is a very intentional. Notre Dame has great teachers. I'm telling you from watching practices, Notre Dame has great teachers.
Yes.
Great teachers that hold their players accountable. Every last one of them. Every last one of them. Great teachers, man. Mike Mickens, great teacher. Dylan McCullough, great teacher. Heck, Mike Denbrock, great teacher. We'll find out about Geno this year.
Yeah, we can't even. Yeah, we'll find out about Mike Brown this year.
Dude, you can't put that. What was Geno supposed to do with Riley?
What was he supposed to do with Sam? Nothing. But I wouldn't even have asked him. I shouldn't,
do with that. But those they have great teachers, man. And now you'll find out. I don't know if Al Washington, I respect what Al Washington has done, especially after the injuries, key injuries. I don't know yet if Al Washington is a great teacher.
Don't know because what does he produce?
He's under the Geno Act as well.
He's under the Geno. I don't know.
No, because these are his guys. Boubacar is his guy.
Yeah, Boubacar is his guy.
Emiliano is his guy. Armel Mukam is his guy. Devin Houston is his guy. Brennan Vernon is his guy. These are his guys now.
Yes.
He evaluated, recruited, and he's been developing. So now the spotlight goes to him. He's not protected by Riley Mills, Howard Cross, and all the players that he inherited. These are your guys. Because when he walked in with Isaiah Foskey and Jason Adamiola, bro, that's who Al Washington walked in with.
Yeah.
And then he got Riley Mills and Howard Cross. So, I mean, he walked into a pretty good situation on the D-line. Now we'll see.
Yeah, now we'll see.
Now we'll really see what your development is all about. We'll see. We'll see if Bryce Young takes that step. Cool.
It'll be Bryce Young. Yeah.
Takes that step. Cool. Chris Burgess is a man.
Chris Burgess, I'm waiting on that.
Man,
that could be the change right there.
Man,
because he looks the part right now,
bruh.
That's something Al Washington could be like, okay, that's what we got. And we know Al Washington hasn't been put to the test yet. Because once again, even recruits, Justin Scott said, I'm looking around. I don't see anything that's better than me right now on the D-line. And that's with a Patello. That's with a Traore. That's with the guys that the high school 5-star evaluated and said, I'm not getting pushed. I'm in a room full of guys where I can be the best one early.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm saying Al Washington has everything to prove. Hell, even Dina McCullough in some instance has to prove how he adjusts to be in an offense where the quarterback isn't stealing all your carries. How do you manage the amount of times you put the guys in at this point, right? Like, I think the onus goes on everybody a little bit more because the team is going to be totally different next year. I think if we lose Al Golden, that's a huge change. The offense is already changing, even with the coaches coming back. Chino got a coach now. We was really coaching with a half-man staff.
Yeah.
Just because we're trying to fit a quarterback in there that's not the fit that we probably were most successful with. But, now we get a quarterback coach again. Now we get a guy that's been at Notre Dame longer than a year, longer than 6 months. We get some kind of balance back, honestly. We get our receiver coach back.
Yeah.
We get receivers excited about playing again. I mean, come on, like, what receivers was excited about playing this year for Riley Leonard? Not that
we finally saw Chris Mitchell to start a game.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, Demont, Mr. Food Lover, do you think Steve needs to move on or stay and battle for the position? I feel he should move on. I'll let you take that one, Love.
I don't know, man. Steve.
Sometimes your window opens and closes, man.
I think if they're not walking into this offseason saying, yeah, Steve's our starter, if they're not saying he should be starting, especially after his performance against Penn State for the emergency that we needed him, then what is he staying around for? You already heard Gino.
Yeah, that's
you heard Gino Gaduli say in the meeting, it's going to be very interesting. We got 4 guys, he said.
Mm-hmm.
So he ain't thinking about Steve. And Coach Gino Gaduli is excited about them young bucks, man. And for Steve to do so well and still not get a shake or a head nod of consider. Remember, he was a starter before Riley got there. So to even be talked over or looked over that quick after being, without a doubt, the go-to guy if our starter went down, and to not even be the lead guy, what is Marcus Freeman thinking? He ain't thinking about Steve. I think Steve will help himself like the Kyle McCord did going to Syracuse.
Man, I told you where Steve needs to go.
Or I'm saying have the change and go get you a nice year at a school like Kyle McCord did at Syracuse, right? Staying at Notre Dame, I think you've proved everything, honestly.
Solid, man. Steve is a
He's proved,
solid quarterback, bro.
That's what I'm like. He has proved everything he needs to, man. There is nothing that if he left, he shouldn't leave with his head down. It's like Jaden Mickey leaving. Everybody understands. Because at this point, you got to help yourself, Steve. They're not seeing you anything more than the backup. That's how I look at it.
What? You know what bothers me, bro? You know what bothers me? Because I have a daughter, dude. I tell her, I encourage her all the time, never stay in a situation that's not going to maximize you. I tell her that all the time, love. And I just don't understand. Like, you mentioned Jaden Mickey, and people will try to throw darts at Jaden Mickey or shoot arrows at Jaden Mickey. Like, you fault this man for being honest, for recognizing, the writing's on the wall. This kid is good.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Jordan Clark he saw what Jordan Clark
if I want to truly maximize my career, I have my degree. I'll be getting my degree in the spring. And if I truly want to maximize my career, I need to go find a situation where I can start and play,
and not have to
give
be.
myself a chance to get to the NFL. And
That's it.
if fans really want to take shots at him, you quit on your team. What are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about? They quit on Steve. Shit.
Young man literally is about to graduate from the University of Notre Dame. He took care of his account. He was accountable, being a student, and took care of that. And you got a problem with the fact that he's looking for a situation to better himself for his professional side? Because he recognized that the dude that was coming is really good? No, you stay and compete. Compete again. Dude, he admitted the fact that he's transferring, he is admitting, you know what? That's the dude. Like, for me to stay here and fight, I don't understand how people look at situations, man. It's like such an antiquated pre-transfer portal view of like kids being committed to a program, man. Things are different. Things are different. And Notre Dame is different. That's why I don't have a problem with any transfers from Notre Dame, bro, especially if they're about to receive their degree. If you're about to get your degree, man, you have every right to go, man. Go where you want to go. Do what you want to do. So it's all different, love. It's all different nowadays. But as far as Steve goes, love, so you don't think he should compete? You don't think
Steve should help himself, man. I
don't
think
think
that his resume, what in his resume proves that he's less ready than two guys who hasn't played yet. I mean, Steve has film. So for Gino Gaduli to be saying, "Oh, it's going to be real interesting," when you have a guy that has film and has played in big moments and has won a bowl game and has been there the longest and has showed explementary character on and off the field, showed a little bit of clutchness too. And for you to sit there and be like, I don't know who we gonna have, and it's between a guy like Steve and three other guys who haven't played, it just tells you they're not thinking about Steve in the future.
Man.
And on top of that, you're reporting that Steve's talent-wise, is not a greater thrower than the younger dudes.
No, I've been saying that for 2 years, bro. No.
So
what
are you gonna do?
Left. You can tell the story, Left. The first spring practice when Sam Hartman arrived.
This is 2 years ago.
Spring practice 2 years ago. It was Sam Hartman, Tyler Buckner, Steve Angeli, and Kenny Mitchell.
Steve was there.
When I called you, what was the first thing I said to you, bro?
If Young Bucks can throw it, I'm excited for the future because if Young Bucks can throw that ball, and they have a touch and a zip that the other two do not have. And these are freshmen.
People didn't want it to get out there. When people tried to kind of like, well, man, Sam was snapping it off good. I'm like, Kenny Mitchell's arm is so much better than Sam Hartman. It's like, what are we talking about right now, bro? It's not even close. And he's a freshman.
You said this 2 years ago.
I said it 2 years ago.
So that should answer your questions, fans.
And why I tipped my cap to Steve, the same practice 2 years ago.
He was skipping rocks.
Steve Angeli was, man.
Steve really developed, like, truthfully.
He has really developed into a good quarterback, man.
A serviceable quarterback for another school.
The church people used to say, bro, I'm not what I ought to be, but thank God I'm not what I used to be.
What I used to be. He used to be way worse.
Mighty long way.
And for the coaching staff, And I think the coaching staff is raising the expectation. I think they felt like they were forced to do this Riley deal, knowing he was limited. Denbrock and Gaduli said, we're going to do it this last time, and we're not doing that no more. We're not having the bar set at such a low standard when we have more talent in the room. It's like asinine. Dino Gaduli's looking around that room like the two guys playing this year are talent-wise nowhere close to throwing the football like we need, like the two guys in this room sitting next to me that are young. So Gino's probably like, dude, I can't even coach. Because how can I coach when the two guys that are that in my position group will make me look better as a coach from a talent position and all that? They're not even available to play. I'm dealing with two dudes that I don't even know like that. That clearly in practice aren't talented like the guys I'm recruiting. That's like Dina McCullough playing running backs outside of Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price and playing like Devin Ford. And we just keep giving the ball to Devin Ford. You're like, okay, I get Devin Ford, but you just don't want to give it to Jeremiah Love?
Hey, Jabron Payne was the third down back. Aeneas has that on lock.
On lock. What is Jabron? What can Jabron Payne do now? He can't beat him. He can't beat him in years. And the seniority thing is over with.
So for the clip that Left has referenced twice, this was Gino this was before the Penn State game, I believe.
Yeah, the man just said it.
No, I take that back. This was after the Penn State game. He was being asked about the quarterback. This is what Gino Gaduli had to say.
Is there a part of a little 5% of you that's looking forward to an outright battle?
It should be great. We got a talented room. It's gonna be interesting to watch unfold. Kenny, Steve, CJ, and now the addition of Blake, we got 4 really talented kids in that room that'll be vying for the position. And yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Look how many people he said vying for the position.
So
Steve
what
is
you're
the only
saying
one
is
that
if Steve had a good standing as an incumbent, not an incumbent, but the veteran.
And the incumbent. I mean, he should be come on. It just
he should have been the first name, just respectfully. He should have been the first name out of Gino's mouth. Just as a sign of respect.
Yeah. And that's
smile you see, that smile wasn't about Steve, yo.
It wasn't. He's like, I can't wait to show you what I've been working on. Man. Can't wait to show you these young dudes He said Steve out of a courtesy, number one. And for 2, if I'm Steve and I'm listening to that, I'm like, dude, I'm the only one that actually's played in the game. What are we talking about? How am I not the outright number 1 going into the spring when I was just the number 1 going into the spring this year?
Yeah.
And every time you've called me, I've answered the call. Played great in my moments. There's truthfully, there's not a game where Steve's played in where I'm like, oh my God, Steven Jelly's in the game. And that's the messed up part. There is not one game that Steve has taken a snap in where I'm like, oh, I'm regretting that he's in there. He's came in and went 4 for 4, 6 for 7, getting points, stimulating the offense. Look how fast the offense looked different in one drive that looks totally different than the rest of the playoff season. That's how fast the offense can look differently. We have receivers catching the ball, receivers around, guys are wide open, Steve's hitting guys. I mean, like, the offense changed so much in one drive.
Instantly.
Denbrock's like breath of fresh air almost. Like Denbrock, like, I had all these plays saved up.
And he went to a totally different page on the playbook. He went to a
Totally
totally
different.
different
Like,
page
oh
on the
my
playbook.
God. It's like Denbrock busted out a whole new playbook for just those 6-7 plays and never ran them again when Riley got back in. Never. Didn't even look at them. And the plays were just basic, open, like, oh, we should have been doing this all game. So that's why I'm like, you can't even judge this year's offense to give any of these guys a leg up other than Steve. Denbrock looked like he was calling the game from the spring game out there with Steve Angeli in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know,
Honestly, I think ND Milton fan asked that question. I think so. If not, I'm sorry. But yo, I think his window honestly
it's over. It's over.
passed.
Steve should want to leave.
And,
Don't say his window's closed. Steve should want to leave.
and I can't say that he was treated fairly. I mean, but what's fair in this situation? We're talking about wins and losses, man. So like, what's fair? Like Marcus Freeman is trying to win games.
I mean, I think we just sold out on the Riley idea. I don't know if there was just.
But see, that's the thing. You would call or you would say Steve Angeli, like you said, a serviceable passing quarterback.
Which he should have been playing. Is okay. And then looking back on the season now, especially how this season was constructed, there's no way you're telling me we couldn't have injected Steve into most of the, if not all these games, and still came out with a good production. You can't tell me Steve couldn't have gotten in Virginia, couldn't have gotten in Stanford, couldn't have gotten in NIU, couldn't have got in. There's no game this year that I feel like looking back on it that Steve couldn't have got in and contributed to the offensive production. If we were to use Steve like that Penn State drive the whole season, maybe there's a different excitement about the offense and we get something more to give an Ohio State team to look at. How easy is it to game plan when you don't have any sense of the quarterback beating you over the top? How much different is the game going if we're injecting a Steve Angeli in the first quarter, in the second half, where we're like, oh, this is just a switch up. We can get some passes off that we can challenge the corners a little bit. We just got locked in on Riley or nothing, like we couldn't do anything else. And it's just weird because it's like, why limit ourselves at that point? That's why I'm like, we really sold out on this Riley thing. That's why it has got to be bigger than just, it's got to be bigger. Like something has to be bigger.
See, you can't, let me tell you something. In a vacuum, if one was to say Notre Dame was really not a championship caliber team as far as winning a championship, but the addition of Riley Leonard allowed them to use his gifts and talents to move the program forward. So regardless of how it impacted the passing game, it helped the program move forward. Because Notre Dame winning games in the playoffs helps the program. Experience in big games. Someone in the chat said, yo, Notre Dame in big games. Notre Dame won 2 big games. They beat Georgia. They beat Penn State.
Don't overlook the Georgia win. People
don't overlook the big games that they won just because they didn't.
Penn State and Georgia are quality wins to anybody in college football. What are we talking about?
Absolutely. I saw somebody say that Notre Dame is an average team. What are you talking about?
Who's averaging?
They were the second best team in college. They were the second best team in college football this year.
That means that everybody outside Ohio State is average. That's what you're telling me.
Because we beat what you're saying. That's basically what you're saying.
If you're not Ohio State, you're average. What are we talking about? Because if Georgia would have beat us, oh man, they would have been like, oh, Georgia is so much better, SEC, blah, 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 blah. We beat Georgia and they forgot. People forget. They were like, oh, well, you guys suck because y'all lost to the best team in college football. Well, what was Georgia up until we beat them? Was Georgia the best team in college football until we beat them? Y'all was giving them the credit like they was King Poobah,
Yes.
Herbie the smartest. And then when we beat them, oh, they had a backup quarterback. Oh, y'all act like this is not Kirby Smart of 30-3 Georgia. Like, what are you
This
talking
is when you know people grab low-hanging fruit right here, man. This is when you know people grab low-hanging fruit. Scott Greaves says Michigan beat this all-time team at their house, laughing my A off. You're right.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what Michigan had? 2 first-round defensive tackles.
Yeah, if you've seen
that dominated the game and pushed the pocket and made Will Howard uncomfortable. And Elijah Stewart, the transfer, coming off the edge. So you tell me the first round and second round talent that Notre Dame had on defensive line last night.
The pre-draft has 3 Michigan players.
I would agree with that. They had the perfect formula. We're going to drop everybody in coverage, stop them from throwing the ball deep, and let our 2 defensive tackles wreck their offensive line and run game. Show me the 2 defensive tackles that show me.
We got no pressure on Will Howard at all.
If we do, give us Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant last night, I guarantee you the game is totally.
Don't have a Mason Graham, that's for sure.
Give us
Mason
those
Graham,
2.
the first round defensive tackle. What are you talking about?
I would love to. Man, Scott, hey, man, I would love to see Notre Dame lined up with 2 monsters on the inside.
That's what our whole gripe was going into this year.
I would love to see it.
Our whole gripe this year was, oh my gosh, we need something in the 300 range in the 3 tech and the nose guard. That's a Christmas list. We've been asking for this for years. Not these athletic bigs that like are skinny calves.
That you have to add. I'll give you a perfect example. Brandon Vernon was supposed to be a big end when he came to Notre Dame. Brandon Vernon's 5-star, top 150 kid. Brandon Vernon is being asked to add another 25 pounds to play inside. It's like
Bryce Young has to be added some weight too. We're getting developed guys we have to develop, not 320 coming in ready to wreck stuff.
Now we will have a 320-pounder transferring from Louisville next year.
Yes, he's 6'2". I wish he was a little bigger, but he's in that 300 range. We can live with that,
you know. But that's just, you're not even being honest. You're probably being emotional right now. If you're calling Notre Dame, they're the second best team in college football this year.
Like, who else is better than us? We beat Georgia.
Than the rest of college football. And they beat Georgia and Penn State with a fractured roster.
Yeah.
If Benjamin Morrison, Boubacar Traore, Jordan Patello, and Charles Jagusah had played all year, Notre Dame was already beating the crap out of teams, bro. They would have beat Indiana by 30 if those players played. 30. Yeah. They would have beat Georgia possibly by 20.
Yeah.
If those players played. They would have beat Penn State probably by 10 if those players played. And they would have given Ohio State a much more competitive game if those players played. And the fact that anyone would look at that and look at what this program did, they didn't have that depth just 2 years ago. And the fact that in 2 years, the depth on this team has vastly improved. Who cares about stars? We're just talking about flat out talent. Flat out talent. First round talent, out. Second round talent, out. Second round pass rusher, out. First round offensive tackle, gone for the majority of the year. What are we talking about? 4 key components, 4 talented players, out. But yet and still, they smacked everybody in their path except for the absolute best team in the nation that's stacked full of 5 stars, that can't beat Michigan and has failed, hasn't won a Big Ten championship for over 5 years,
Yeah.
and beat an injury-laden Notre Dame team after they put 20 mil into the transfer portal. And the only reason they got Caleb Downs is because Nick Saban retired. Everything aligned for them to have the team that they put together. Everything aligned. Everything aligned, dude. And you tip your cap because they got it done. But we're going to sit up here and act like Notre Dame is an average football program. Man, stop. Now we're being silly, bro. Now we're just talking.
Yeah.
Miami is an average football program.
Yes.
Colorado is an average football program.
SMU is average.
Illinois is an average football program. And I'm happy to have an average football program.
Yeah, like what are people are crazy, Sean.
I have an average football.
This is an average. If going 15-1 is an average football team, okay. With Georgia, Texas A&M,
Tennessee is an average football.
Tennessee is an average, literally average.
Ole Miss is an average football program.
Mississippi State average. Bama's back to average. Hell, Bama's average.
Well, I'll let Bama do it for one more year before I put them down to average.
They're more average.
You want average?
They're more average than us.
Average?
Bama's more average than us. Shoot.
You want an average? Average? Playoff team? What are we talking about? Average? Man.
Playoffs? Texas A&M was an average. LSU's an average football team. Texas A&M is an average football team. What are you talking about?
Well, you know LSU is average. Once they got old boy down there, we knew that average was coming. We knew that label was coming. We experienced it. Like, people just say stuff, bro, with no context, no facts, none. The same people that said you're not going to beat Georgia. Oh, now, well, you beat Georgia to back up. That's not the energy you had before the game. You said we couldn't do it. They did it. You said they weren't going to be able to run the ball on Penn State and beat Penn State. They did it. You said they couldn't come back from down 10 points against a good team. They did it. The only thing they failed at is not overcoming the absolute most talented roster in all of college football. So if that's the case, Penn State is average right now. Kirby Smart and Georgia are average right now. Oregon is average right now. Like, what are we talking about? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Oh, I forgot about. Thank you, Jay Lamont. With second, third string offensive line, they're doing this. But this is an average program. Now, please tell me the average program that's able to run the ball better than the previous O-line that had a first-round tackle and a second-round tackle that left for the NFL. And second and third stringers come back and produce better numbers on the ground throughout the season than they did. What program does that, Left?
We don't have transfer portal issues either.
That's an average program that's able to accomplish that. Average. So, yeah, everything should next year, fans, to answer your question. I thought Blake went late second. I might be wrong. I thought Blake went late second. Dude, I just realized watching that game that Notre Dame had the Texans have 2 Notre Dame linemen starting for them. Jared Patterson is the starting center. Blake Fisher is the starting right tackle.
Hold on, you got Sam Mustipher and Joe Walt in San Diego. I mean, or the Chargers.
Sam is on the roster?
Yeah, he was playing.
I didn't know Sam was on the roster, bro.
Yeah, the Bears messing up, man. I need to bring my dog Sam back, man. He was a Bear great.
No, sir.
He was a Bear great.
Nah, the great is not associated with his time here in Chicago. I'm sorry. There's nothing great about him while he was here with the Bears. He might be great with Harbaugh. He might be, but not here. Not here. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, Fisher was a surprise second-round pick. People thought he would go third, fourth. He ended up going second. That's what I thought. Yeah. And then snatched that right tackle job. When everybody was like, oh, he's going to be a guard. He's going to be a guard in the NFL. Went up there and snatched that right tackle job. He got blazed by your boy Karlaftis this weekend, though. Karlaftis put up what? 5 sacks on your boy? How many sacks did George Karlaftis have on Blake Fisher? I think it was it 4? I felt bad for Blake. You know what's so funny, Left? Because a tree is known by the fruit that it bears, bro. It's amazing how people will say Notre Dame, and if you want to talk about facing the likes of Ohio State and Georgia, well, they just beat Georgia with a roster full of 4 and 5 stars, despite the quarterback. If I'm not mistaken, the quarterback was a 4-star. People forget that. Penn State had a roster full of 4 and 5 stars. I don't know who ranked Drew Aller a 4-star, but
crazy.
Yeah. But it's amazing how people could try to dog Notre Dame for their recruiting, but yet still Notre Dame consistently has the 5th or 6th most players in the NFL. It's amazing how people say Notre Dame doesn't have talent, but they consistently send the 5th or 6th most players to the NFL every year. Every year. Like right now, they have 3 of the top 5 safeties in the NFL from Notre Dame. 3 of the top 5, Left.
3 of the top 5?
3. Harrison Smith, Kyle Hamilton, and Julian Love. 3 of the top 5.
Aloy Gilman's in there too somewhere.
I don't know if he's top 5, might be top 10. Now, what you won't see is wide receivers coming from Notre Dame. We can talk about it. Left. You talk about the steps.
Said you don't see them. What do you mean?
Name the wide receivers that's playing in the NFL. I didn't say making the roster. I'm talking about that's actually playing. I just said 3 of the top 5 safeties. Okay. What top 5 wide receiver is from Notre Dame in the NFL?
Oh, we don't have one right now.
What top 10 wide receiver in the NFL is from Notre Dame?
We don't have. I don't think we have one.
What top 15 wide receiver in the NFL is from Notre Dame?
I don't know, man.
What top 20 wide receiver in the NFL is from Notre Dame?
Ben Skoranek?
No, sir. Top 20? You're trolling now. I know you're trolling now.
I honestly don't think we have a receiver in the league right now.
We might not have a top 75 wide receiver.
We don't have a receiver in the Kevin Austin Jr. He plays for Jacksonville.
Was he
Saints.
Off the practice squad?
He plays for Saints.
Was he off the practice squad?
I think he's making a team. He's not ranked.
Kevin Austin Jr. is not a top 75 wide receiver.
Yeah, even it's
So once again, see, this is the issue, right? Because I disagree that Notre Dame has problems recruiting and doesn't have talent. That's not true because the fruit that shows up in the NFL refutes that consistently. Tons of talent comes through Notre Dame. Does tons of talent come through at the wide receiver position? Nah. Does tons of talent come through at the defensive tackle position? Nah. So now we can turn that into a microcosm of the conversation and specifically talk about those areas because I definitely think the quarterback position to the NFL is about to change. But that wide receiver, defensive tackle, Notre Dame's constantly putting linebackers in the NFL. Constantly. Maris Leofau and JD balled out this year for the Cowboys and the Falcons. And they weren't even thought of as starting linebackers when they got drafted. Did you play with Jalen Guyton? Were you there when he was there?
Yeah, he was literally a freshman and left the same year, so he didn't really get a chance to really get rolling or anything. And the next thing you know, he's catching touchdowns from Justin Herbert. I think he just got hurt, and then they kind of moved past him or something. But he was with the Rams, the Chargers for a long time.
Yeah, Kyron Williams is probably the top running back from Notre Dame. Probably. But Kyron started that run. Kyron, Aldrick, Jeremiah, Jadarian, Kedron, Aeneas, all of them are going to the league. Every last one are going to the league. And that's what I mean. It has to start somewhere. I don't know who Notre Dame is going to get, but somebody has to be that Julio Jones for this program, bro. Because that's what Julio was that for Alabama. He broke the seal and started the flow of wide receivers to Alabama. Notre Dame is going to have to find, will Malachi Fields be that for them next year? Can Jaden Grayhouse continue to grow and be that for the program? Is it somebody else? KK Smith, Cam Williams, Micah Gilbert. Jay Lamont, thank you for the super chat. We did great down 5 defenders, and we went 3-1. It's got to be somebody, man. I will say this. Mike Brown has some connections and some offers out to some top-notch kids at the wide receiver position in the class of 26. I'm very interested in seeing who shows up in the cold. Because whoever shows up for this junior day is coming up in the cold. It's going to be a cold weekend in South Bend. So if you come to South Bend this weekend, you are very interested. because you can wait until the springtime when the weather is a lot better and those spring visits and that spring window opens up, love. If you come to South Bend this weekend, you're really interested in Notre Dame. Is it cold out there in AZ, left? They're saying it's cold all over. Hey man, this is crazy, man. I canceled Bible class tonight, Left. I think it's like negative 18 wind chill here in Chicago. Okay, Gino said it's cold in AZ. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, wow. Ed3 says it's freezing in Dallas, too. Wow. Wow. Zero degrees right now in South Bend. 19 in North Carolina. Yo, you starting to scare me, man. What's going on? It's 50. Yeah, 55 in AZ is Greg. 55 in AZ is crazy. Snow in Florida. 43 in Gainesville. Yo, this is crazy. 24 in Atlanta. Yeah, I know Atlanta had a big snowstorm last week that shut everything down. That's crazy. 21 in Tennessee. Wow, guys. 36 in Tampa. That's wow, Scott. Or 56. I'm sorry. I'm thankful that we're getting 30 by the time Sunday shows up. Like I'll be doing viral Bible class tonight, a virtual Bible class tonight. There was no way I was going to ask parishioners to come out a Bible class. No way. It's crazy. Snowing in New Orleans. Wow. Oh, that's crazy. Hey, man, everybody stay warm. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, they said it's snowing in Houston and Atlanta. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. I still say, if you come to South Bend this weekend, you you are very interested in Notre Dame. All right, Left. We thank everybody for tapping in today. We gave you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and then pointed you to the future. It was
Pointed you
great
to the pointed you east.
Yeah.
That's
How's
all, because man, good grief, man, that's terrible.
how did the
Terrible.
Migos say it? You know, we talked about last night, covered everything, and then we went that way.
That way, we for sure went that way.
Right.
But
We had to point to the future, bro.
point to the future, man.
We
We
had
just
to
gotta.
point to the future. But
We just gotta, man.
we had to get it out.
Yeah.
We had to get it out. We wanted to represent all thoughts, all feelings in the fan base. Yeah, it is. It is good weather out there in LA. I mean, heck, everything's on fire. Or was on fire. But my baby girl, I think she sprained her toe or something, bro. Or her ankle. And so she was asking me if she needed to invest in a scooter.
Wait, performing?
Nah, dude. Dude, don't even ask me, bro. My daughter is
It was that hiking,
like
all that hiking she want to do in California, going to Runyon Canyon and all
I
that.
tell all the time. I'm like, man, what you call hiking is not hiking. You are walking a trail. That's hiking to me is like going up mountains, bro. I guess it's certain trails that are hike worthy in the LA area, Southern California area. So tonight, ladies and gents, Malik, Oscar McBride, Reggie Brooks, Jerron
Jerron Jones.
Jones.
Yeah. We gotta get
Players
this right.
Only podcast wrap up show.
Yeah, because we gotta wrap it up, man. This is
if you think I let loose at the beginning of today's show, there's gonna be some things tonight said. There's gonna be some slow singing and flower bringing, based upon guys are not happy about what they saw down in the ATL last night as they fly back home. So for Left SD2 mics, we'll let you know what time tonight. We appreciate you guys. Get your questions ready for the guys. If you have questions, get those questions ready. We'll be right back here on the YouTube channel. It's going to be free tonight. We're going to post it for free tonight, the wrap-up show.
It's got to go out. It's got to get out, man. We got to get this response. Shout out Lorenzo Styles, though. Shout out Carnell Tate. Them brothers got it, brought a championship home. Good for them, man. Always was rooting for y'all, you know. Just not y'all team.
For Left, SD2 mics, we gave you 3 hours a day because we love you, man. We're here for you. We're going to continue to be here for you in the off season. We'll be talking about some of the kids coming for the visit this weekend, and then we'll actually hear from Marcus Freeman and the rest of the players tomorrow. Some of the things they said in the aftermath of the 34-23 loss to Ohio State in the national championship game. For Left, SD2 mics, always make sure you continue to spin it different.